What's up, everybody? Joe Carlton here with Aces Up podcast episode number 28. Tonight, I have quite the show planned. It's probably going to be a marathon show, run at least 2 to 3 hours. Got featured guests Billy Wasosky and Will Miles, NFFC Hall of Famer Billy and 2023 overall champ Willie Miles. I'm also going to bring in various high stakes guests, the usual crew: Josh Bolin, Joey Brown, Dan Jewett, Michael Gamberg. Also have a special guest from the Sports Affiliation, Hall of Fame writer Greg Kellogg is going to come on at the beginning of the show as well, join Willie and Billy. He's going to talk about the curse of 370. Did a lot of research on that and how it pertains to 2026 ADP and whether or not these guys are worth drafting. We're going to talk 2026 ADP draft thoughts. We're going to give our thoughts on which guys we think are going to move up, which guys are going to move down, ADP movement, all things 2026. So sit back, enjoy the show, grab yourself a cold beverage, get comfortable. Let's go. What's going on, guys? Happy New Year, everybody. We're going to bring in the new year with hopefully a very good show with a lot of good insights and 2026 thoughts. We got Billy and Willie with us now. How you guys doing this evening?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, can't complain, man. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year. Good way to bring this in. You know, watching those games today, both those college games were pretty they're
Lopsided.
Yeah, very lopsided. So hopefully this one will be a little better, but I'm looking forward to talking some football.
Nice. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Jamie, appreciate you, man. Happy New Year. Daniel Barry, happy New Year. Joey in the chat too. We'll be on a little bit later. Hit the like button and subscribe to the Sports Affiliation if you're not subscribed. I want to start off just by asking you guys about 2025, how your teams did. We'll start with you, Billy. I think you had a pretty good finish in the auction overall. I'm not sure how you did in the primetime roto on the OCs. Why don't you give us a rundown, a brief summary of your 2025 fantasy season?
Not my worst season by any stretch, but came up a little bit short of what I put in. Nothing bad. I'm not going to be eating ramen noodles or anything like that, but it's still not my best. It wasn't my best season. I had that. It's amazing, like when you're like right there close to even, and if you can hit that one big thing at the end, which, you know, the auction championship was 15,000. It wasn't 250 or anything like that, but still, it's a pretty nice bump. But my team just did not. Drake London. I made one mistake. Drake London killed me. So I fell a little bit short. Prime times, I had 4 prime times on my own. I got 3 in the tournament. None of them amounted to anything. Don't want to steal Willie's thunder because he can tell you about his own teams, but we had 4 and we won 2 of them outright before the playoff starts. So that's nice.
Yeah.
So the prime times are good. My bigger leagues this year did not happen. They just didn't work for me. Hope that's not a trend because my bigger leagues, when I talk about the supers and auctions and things like that, did not come through for me. So when you don't win those, it's tough to grind the onlines and everything to come out ahead. So I came up just a little bit short, but all in all, it's another year when I compare everything to like a big boxing match. Like it's like a Well, for me, I've been playing forever. By the time I'm done, hopefully it's like a 40 round boxing match, and you just kind of punch and kind of just kind of hang, and you want that big knockout punch every now and then, which I did in 2021. Of course, Willie did in 2023, and that keeps you going for a while. So overall, would have liked for it to have been better, of course, but not the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
So sounds similar to mine. I pretty much broke even all around. I was 1 point away from winning the 350 New York OC. Also less than a point away from second place. I didn't even get a league prize out of that.
Oh.
I had an OC 3-week matchup which I lost, and then the prime time, the New York prime time, I finished with the best record, but my total points were terrible, so I didn't qualify. If I had qualified for that, I did it to myself. I gave myself the pain, and I looked, and I would have beaten Glenn Lowy in that 3-week matchup, and I would have won the primetime league title. So I was 1 win and a couple of points away from an extra $10K in prize money. So just like that, it's such a fine line. I mean, it was still a decent season. I still won some things. I won my first auction. Nice. You were a part of that. So
he had a good team. That was my worst team by overall all my teams. I mean, I'm not lying when I say it. That was my worst team points wise because I keep track of all my leagues in points. That was my worst team.
I remember that 1 week. What did you score? Was it like 68? I forget what it was. 68, 72 or something. I was
Lamar Jackson. Willie can talk about him. He's a big Lamar fan. So.
Nice. All right, we'll kick it over to Willie. Willie, how'd you do in 2025, man?
Well, it was kind of like similar to Billy. It was a good year. I finished slightly in the profit zone, which I appreciate. When you can always make a profit. I'll tell you why here in a second. But my biggest highlight was definitely the Silver Bullet. Did that in New York. Very tough room. Had a real strong showing the first half of the year, but at the same time, that doesn't count for anything. I made it number 2 overall at 1 point, but that started faded back due to the fact that, one, my main quarterback was Lamar, and his injury history caught up with him. But 2, it didn't start to flow right. I had a big last week of the regular season. Shout out Cameron Dicker. Not the fantasy playoffs. I didn't really appreciate him, but that last week he had 22 points, which I qualified for the Silver Bullet outright. And pretty much, started playoff hot, up there with names in the top 8, and then just didn't have the right combos after that. Scored 138 and 140. Finished, I believe, like 18th. I know Michael Edelman and Chris Vaccaro were really going for the top prize. They had outstanding teams. Shout out to those guys.
Excellent players, both of them.
Yeah. Oh yeah, excellent. Absolutely. Chris was in my league, so it when you go against good players, you got to match like for like. So that was I'm happy to see the progress of that team. Just a little bummed it came up short, but that's all right. On to next year. One of my prime times out of 3 made it in. It didn't do anything in the big dance. And like Billy said, winning 2 outright prime times is a good feeling because pretty much we're just sitting whatever combination at the end. It's like, we want to finish with undefeated record. And one of them, that was a cool accomplishment.
Yeah. Never done that before.
Yeah.
Neither have I. That's
never gone 14-0. So that was
20-something years of fantasy football. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So. Yeah. And then we had 3 online online championship teams qualify. Didn't make any jazz, and then I had a couple online. So my biggest highlight is kind of talking to Billy off the the show. I got 4 out of the 8 auction teams, the 150s in. I won all of those, so that was a cool little because it's a 4-team competition, the 3-week sprint for those prizes. So I appreciate seeing that. That was a good little pick me up at the end of the year. And I'm ready for next year now. And my drive is still there. So
ironically, Joe, the online championship winner, Wilson Moy, we were also, Willie and I that was our first OLC we did together. We were in that league. So I feel like Willie was in with Chris. Chris didn't win it all. He was darn close, of course. So, we get in our leagues and you got good things happening is, I guess, the
or good luck charms. And in that particular league, Joe, we missed out by one pick on having a team of Gibbs, CMC, and McBride.
Wow. And we would have Lamar, though, of course. That probably would have. That would have been crazy.
That was when McBride was falling into the third round in some drafts, right?
Yeah, well, DJ Moore was obviously worth the pick. So,
yeah.
Nice. All right, so we're gonna get into 2026 talk, but before we do, I'm gonna bring in a special guest, Greg Kellogg. Let's bring him on stage. What's up, Greg? How's everything?
Everything is great, but first I want to apologize if I come through a little bit choppy. I'm on Starlink because my fiber connection got cut 3 months ago and my community hasn't fixed it yet. So Starlink, sometimes it works great, sometimes it doesn't work at all. But I got to give a shout out to your guest, Billy, Fanball Hat. I love Charge. Great guy. Those that don't know, Fanball was created by Paul Charchian.
Yes. Yeah, we got these from Greg Ambrosius. I don't know when. I can't remember.
See, now Greg Ambrosius is a friend of mine too. He went into the Hall of Fame when I did, same year. Scott Engel, Matt Barry, and I'll be interviewing them in the off season. So I like Greg. He's a magazine guy though, so that's great. And is that Virginia Tech that Willie's wearing?
Yes, sir, it is.
I think it's a Virginia Tech shirt.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Willie and I both live in the same. We teach at the same school, so it's kind of ironic.
What level? High school, college?
Middle school.
Okay, cool. You got the kids just as they're becoming delinquents then.
Yeah,
they're not fully developed
yet.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay, so what I wanted to talk about tonight is a lot of people get really upset with the term curse of 370. But anybody that's been in fantasy football for a while has heard that. Now, what it basically says is if a player, and it's always a running back, gets 370 touches in a single season, they're likely to have a lesser season the next year. And by lesser, I mean substantially lesser. So this year already, Jim McCaffrey is at 399. He's got a game to go. There's two other players, maybe three, that could hit it. Okay. Jonathan Taylor is likely to hit 370. Bijan Robinson, outside chance, and Cook in Buffalo has a very outside chance. He's got to get over 30 touches this week for Cook to make it. But it's possible. He's had one game with 30 touches. So
Greg, you don't count the playoffs as well, like added on touches?
No, I just count regular season. Regular season.
Gotcha.
And touches, for those that don't know, are carries, receptions, not targets, receptions, and if they returns. It's plays where you're going to get hit. Now, I know that running backs pick up blitzes and they get hit on those plays, but it's hard to quantify that. Aaron Schatz did the original study on this years ago, and I started playing in 1986. I started writing in the 90s. I went into the Hall of Fame in 2010. I've been talking about Curse of 370 probably for 20, 25 years. And people just think of it as stress. You put your body under stress. When you get hit like that, it's like car accidents that you're going into over and over again. Now, I'm going to go back to the 70s and 80s and talk about a Hall of Famer, one of my favorite all-time running backs, a guy named Walter Payton, all right? He had 5 370 seasons, 370 touch seasons. Back then, people ran the ball a whole lot more than they do now. Those 5 seasons, he actually went up the following season twice and went down 3 times, all right? But he went down -14, -48, and -15%. Those are pretty substantial decreases because after you have a 370 carry touch season, you've scored a lot of fantasy points, so you're going in the first round the next year, just guaranteed.
Did we lose you, Greg?
I told people not to draft him because he was going in the first round, 4th or 5th pick. Okay. And he's about.
Greg, you're cutting out, man. You want to bounce out and come back in?
I can do that. Yes.
All right. Pretty sure he was just talking about Saquon Barkley being a disappointment this year.
Well, and that should be kind of expected. I mean, you have a historic year like Saquon, the expectations to repeat are going to be substantially high, and everyone in Philly holds everybody accountable.
And they lost. Sorry, Willie, go ahead.
They're the most passionate, reasonable fans in the league. That's all I'm going to say.
They lost Jason Kelce, and then they've had injuries all season on the offensive line too, which certainly doesn't help. But he just doesn't look the same. I mean, he had that game against the Chargers where he busted that long run, but he hasn't really shown that breakaway, ability this year for sure.
I feel like it's almost forced. I feel like if Kevin Patullo got them into like a read option more between him and Hurts, because Hurts is very effective running. Like that could serve Saquon a lot better because you're going to guess which one's going. But again, that's their system they have to run, and it's their dilemma they have to deal with A.J. Brown with his little freakouts. So.
All right,
So
Greg,
guys,
you're back.
I'm really sorry about that. My internet is just – people complain about Elon about X. Well, I complain about Starlink, to be honest.
Uh,
370 touches in 1 year. 55 if you count CMC this year. And 42 have lost points the following year. So just be aware, if somebody gets 370 touches, their body has undergone an awful, extreme
that sucks. Sorry, Greg. Greg, I think you're. I think we're gonna have to cut you short, man, because of the internet, coming through. I think what Greg.
I was just gonna. I mean, he's bringing up a lot of good points. If you look historically, like backs, especially get to the threshold of age 28, they start that decline, and every position's different, but they start to see that decline, especially the heavy alpha backs. And he's mentioned good names like CMC, JT. They're upwards of 28 to 30. I'm going to push back a little bit on Bijan because I think he's about to go into his prime, and we're about to see that stallion just run.
Yeah,
I agree.
It's a very likelihood with these older backs. So Greg brings up great points.
So just to get into some of the numbers, I believe it's an average of 25% less production, as well as obviously an increased injury risk. We know Derrick Henry broke his foot the following year after a year in which he had over 370 touches. Just trying to think of some examples. I remember Jamal Anderson back from the early, late 90s. He had a huge year with 400 touches. And then, the following year, he was a top 5 pick, and I believe he got hurt on the first drive of the season, done for the year. There's just a lot of historical evidence that shows the following year, the production, you can expect the production to go down. So whether or not you think these guys are worth ADP, like for instance, the 2 examples this year, Jonathan Taylor and CMC, both of these guys are going to be, I could see CMC still being in the first round or the back end of the first round. That's probably where I'm expecting him to go. Jonathan Taylor, probably still in the second round, but nonetheless, you're talking about a very important pick that if they don't perform, they don't return that second round, first round centerpiece foundation of your roster production, then it's kind of a disappointment, and you're playing catch up from there on with the rest of your build. So
And saying what Greg was saying, and he said he doesn't count the playoffs. Willie might remember this better than me. I know Saquon, I believe he had 390 regular season touches. I want to say he got close to like 490 or something crazy.
He almost eclipsed 500.
Right. And I mean, I know he doesn't count that, and I get why. I understand it's like just because some players don't go to the playoffs. But I mean, let's be fair. McCaffrey, they're going to run him into the ground. Like they are just going to run him into the ground. And it's like, and he added that he's going to be 30 years old before the season starts. It's just, there's a lot of like, oh my gosh, it's going to take a lot of cojones to take him in the first round, in my opinion.
Well,
it just is.
Yeah. Well, especially with him and Joe, Bill and I talked about this recently, but we feel like it's a pendulum with him. 1 year on the right side's a good year. The next way, like last year, he's hurt like, very much so all year. And it came back around, another historic year. So, again, just depends on the body, depends on how it heals, especially age. I mean, all the time's undefeated. So.
I like that. Father Time is undefeated.
Well, except for Tom Brady, of course, but I don't know.
But he's a quarterback, so.
Yeah, I know. That's true.
Derrick Henry's kind of proven us all wrong here. He just keeps – He's amazing. He's like him. There's certain players,
Frank Gore,
Adrian Peterson. They're just different. Lelanian Tomlinson. They're just built differently.
Yeah.
You throw out all those. All this stuff gets thrown out. They're just plug them in.
Outliers. Yeah. Even still though, Derrick Henry does have one season where he after 400 touches where he disappointed based on his ADP, and he broke his foot too. He got unfortunate and broke his foot. But I believe in the first 7 games that year he broke his foot. He was as far as points per game goes, he was on pace to
outstanding.
Yeah,
he was going to break everything because I had him on a very, very good. It was a primetime team that was actually in first place for a while overall, and when he went down, it killed me, of course. But he was incredible that year. He was amazing. So,
all right. So I want to start the 2026 ADP thoughts. I want to bring on two new guests. The first tag team pairing that I put together, we got my good friend Joey Brown and new to the group Michael Gamberg. Mike. Joey, why don't you introduce yourselves and say hello to Willie and Billy?
Hey guys,
those guys know me. I'm good.
We know Joey pretty well. Michael, I've known the name. Where do you live, Michael?
I live right here in Center City, Philly.
Oh, okay.
I grew up in the suburbs of Philadelphia.
Gotcha. All right.
I was in a couple of drafts with. You were doing a live stream with Joe, and at the end you said, what team picked your favorite team. He jigs me. You picked my team. But we had in another draft. It was pretty interesting too. It was a draft where I went in to I wanted to get a share of Genty. I didn't really want him to, I just wanted one share. So it started in the back. I got number 7, so I took him 7.
Oh, I know this draft. Go ahead.
And I ended up with McCaffrey and Taylor.
Yeah.
And it was,
oh shit.
Yeah.
Really,
I was like, okay.
But I think you drafted. I thought I was going to change it up because I think you got Did you get Lamb right before? I think the Lamb swept there. You were right in front of me, Will.
Yes, sir. Yeah, Lamb did go to 6 in that draft, and that was the draft. And kind of kicking myself a little bit. It's fine, but I had Chase Brown. Don't hate that because he came on, and I took Amari Hampton over Josh Jacobs. So that was fun.
You had a good team.
It was a good team, and yeah, it was a solid build. You had a really good team though, and I was like, dang.
I remember Willie showing me that draft afterwards.
I couldn't believe it. Because
I saw your Genty, McCaffrey, Taylor, and we were both like, "Oh shit, that's gonna be."
I used Nelson. You guys are friendly. I gave it to He said, "Well, I said, well, I wanted to get Genty." He said, "Well, you're a little weak at wide receiver," and I got lucky early because I had Quentin Johnson. And I knew the team as we went along in the play. It just wasn't, even though I had Brissett at quarterback and then Burrow at the end. It just, well, I didn't have the wide receiver. Metcalf, obviously, that hurt me. And,
For a lot of people.
And Waddle's a guy, I mean, if you noticed last week, I told these guys I'm never – that guy he goes out in the first quarter with ribs, and he came back in the fourth quarter like the last round. I said, that guy's just terrible.
He's done that a lot. He's done that a lot over his career, not just this year. Trust
but
me.
I'm a big fan of both you guys. I mean, you guys. I remember when you guys did the show with I guess Aces with Joe. Billy, you were talking about how many drafts, and it's you get the fever with it. You end up doing more than you plan.
Every year I say I'm going to cut back, and it's just we're both teachers, so we don't work in the summer, so
it's addicting. And
it's addicting.
Popcorn, man.
You see a draft room with 8 out of 12, and it's like,
yep. Then you get that little notification. You're like, oh well, I got nothing going on tonight. That's what it comes down to.
I mean, you get the fever. You can hit 3 of them. It's almost too fun.
Yeah,
it is.
But yeah, I mean, we had some interesting drafts. That was a crazy draft.
It was a crazy draft.
I think my other draft, when I couldn't get CeeDee Lamb. I think I had like the 3rd pick one time, and the guy took CeeDee at 2. So my last draft, I went in and got the 2 pick, and then I got him, and that was probably my best team because it moved. I would say the last before the playoffs, it moved like 600 spots in maybe 2-3 weeks. I mean, I started off with Lamb, and then I went A.J. Brown, and then Trevion Henderson, and then I had Pickens, and then I had Vontae, then I had Rasheed Rice, and then I came back with Dak. So I might be an Eagles fan, but trust me, I got more Dak than Jalen Hurts. I mean, I don't, I'm not gun shy about taking the Cowboys, believe me. Some people in Philadelphia would be.
Well, why not, man? You play on a team with a crappy defense and a good offense, and that's like fantasy formula for success.
I thought that team really had a shot because I had ETN and Henderson came on. I mean, Scatterboo I lost early, but and Henderson, Dak had a bad game, and then Henderson, won that like the first couple of minutes of the game, really. Yeah. So that was that.
All right, so my first question for you guys for 2026 is, who's your number 1 overall pick? For me, I'm sure that somebody's at least one person's going to agree with me. For me, if I get the number 1 pick, I think it's pretty clear cut. Even in a 3 wide receiver format, I'm going Bijan. If I get number 1 next year, he's entering, like Willie already hinted, he's entering a prime year. He's getting a ton of volume. He's great. He's been catching passes like a beast. And I know that Drake London being hurt has contributed to the increase there, but still, you're looking at 50 plus catches, 20 plus touches per game. The potential to average 25 to 30 points per game in PPR for sure. I think I like to do hero build is usually my build. Hero RB is my build of choice. If I have to choose one gun to head. So, when you get that number 1 pick, you want to make sure you get the right piece to build your team around. I feel like I can catch up. I trust my draft skills to catch up on wide receiver and hit on a mid to late round quarterback. And I get that number 1 pick. I'm going Bijan. What about you guys?
I'm not going to speak for everyone else. I mean, the other talk shows and other perspectives are probably going to go because it's a most recency bias when it comes to fantasy. I feel like sometimes and what you've done in the last performance. So, I mean, yeah, like they talked about the fantasy empire. I mean, he's just going to be clear cut. Algier's going to be a free agent. Right. That's going to increase his opportunities. They play in the NFC South. He's a stud. So I could rave about Bijan. Joe, I won't repeat what you said. I'll just add those 2 points. I would love, like, after the guys speak, talk about the 2 through 5. That'd be probably entertaining.
Who's next?
You can go, Billy. I was generally going to go.
Across the screen?
Yeah. Just go around the horn.
That's my apologies. I'm not
No,
respecting
you're
my
fine.
elder.
That's all right. No big deal.
I agree with both of everything you said. Now, I will say here's the one caveat. If Algier stays and David Montgomery goes, would that be enough to put Gibbs one? Well, let's put it this way. I think you definitely would see. I think there'd be more of a number one that was what I'm saying. I think a lot of people would mix it up. If Algier is gone, I don't see how you don't put Bijan one. I just don't know how. I mean, I'm a Gibbs fan. Gibbs is great this year, and he has monster games, and you see his talent as well. But I think those two are personally, they're the 1-2, unless you really want to start with a receiver. So
Joey's our start with the wide receiver guy. So what are your thoughts? Or are you still with Bijan?
I agree with all three of you with Bijan. If I'm going to draft that way, I normally don't. I'm going back to the well. I'm going with Jamar Chase. I mean, if you can get a healthy Burrow, that's the key. I like Puka, but he plays like Marshawn Lynch in my eyes. He gets banged up. He scares me to death. I mean, he puts up the points, but if you go back and look, who can get to 350 like Puka did, and Jamar Chase had 291 on the off season, really. I mean, a little bit of Burrow. Flacco came in, had Jake Browning. I'd go back. I mean, but I can't argue with Gibbs or Bijan. I guess it's just what you're used to. I mean, that would be the two backs I would probably consider, or definitely consider, but I would probably go Jamar Chase.
And I think people will do that. I see, this year there wasn't a clear number one. I mean, Chase was, I'd probably say 95% of the time was number one, but you saw Bijan at 1. We saw Gibbs at 1.
Gibbs, yeah.
And I think we even saw, did we see CD? I don't know, maybe not CD, but anyway.
Yeah, he went 1.
Yeah, he did. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, a couple of times I think CD probably.
Yeah, and plus, too, their defense ain't going to be fixed overnight.
No, it's not.
They're going to play garbage time.
I will say this: if you're picking ever, and this is not even the most like groundbreaking we'll take, but if you're truly in the front, and you're trying to write the script, I feel like it's just swing for the fences of who's the most dangerous, who can break fantasy.
Right.
I think that's usually the case when you try to get a top 3 or 4 pick. But
Mike, your thoughts on the number 1 pick?
Yeah, I agree. Will made a good point with Algier if he goes, but also in the Gibbs case without Montgomery, I think as long as Detroit doesn't have their third string center, I mean, their offensive line enough. So that's, hopefully that'll come back in attack before the season, before next season starts, because that's really what hurt them down the stretch. They got, you're playing how many starting line? I don't think they have any starting linemen from the beginning, right at the end. So, but I would say, depending on what happens with Algier, I would Bijan. But it depends if I get it. Depends how many times I get the one. The one. I mean, I would go. I still like Chase a lot. I mean, that would be definitely my first wide receiver without question.
So it's pretty clear cut top 3. It's the same top 3 it's been. It's just whether or not what order it's going to come in. For each specific draft, we basically all agree Bijan, Gibbs, Jamar Chase, the clear cut top 3.
I don't know. I mean, I that's what I would do, but I think there's going to be people taking Puka at 3.
Oh, yeah.
I think there'll be people that take Puka before Chase. Maybe JSN, I don't know, possibly. But that would be my top 3, Joe.
Yeah.
Nice. So you got JS out. Now my next question was going to be who are some of the guys you expect to move into round 1 ADP that weren't in round 1 ADP in 2025? Billy, you just dropped the JSN name. I agree with that. I think he finds his way into the first round for sure. You think he goes ahead of CD? going? You think CD slips a little bit? Yeah, and it's Puka ahead of CD.
I mean,
And-
CD's going to be tied a lot to Pickens. You know, if Pickens stays, I think CD falls a little more. If Pickens is gone, CD's back. He's middle of the first round, in my opinion. I don't see why not. Like you said, kind of, you know, they're that offense. They're not the Bengals. We joked this year they were the Bengals South, their defense, but they're
worse.
They're not quite that bad, but they're not great either. So they lit up a lot of points too. So nice offense to be tied into.
Nice. So, so another guy I think that's gonna find their way back into the first round, somebody who was basically at the 1-2 turn this past season, is Amon-Ra St. Brown. What do you? Yeah, you guys.
He'll be locked in.
Do you guys? Are you guys in on his spike up into the first round? You guys were you guys are in on drafting St. Brown, right?
He was wide receiver 3 this year, wasn't he? He was wide receiver 3 this year, right?
He's probably got the most consistent floor.
He went
3.
and he went 9 through 11. I mean, he was a solid first.
Yeah, he was a first. He slipped to the second occasionally, but he was. Yeah,
I think
he moved right into the first round.
Yeah, I think he's going to be 7. I think he's going to be 7 through 10.
He was wide receiver 3 overall, but points per game he was wide receiver 5, but not by much.
He's probably, in all seriousness, he is. Once you get past those big 3, he is the safest pick in the first round. He really is.
I agree.
Every year he produces every year.
Consistent.
Yeah,
no doubt.
I went on record, told Michael the other day, it's no joke. I said, if I had a 2 pick, I'd take Amon-Ra.
Well, fair
I mean,
enough.
I don't think you can go wrong. It's not going to.
I'm just saying, I'm just a wide receiver guy. I'm just like I said,
Joey tried to mix it up this year and experiment a little bit, and I don't think it went well for him. So I think he's going back to his not zero RB, but make sure I kill the wide receiver position during the draft strategy. So I like that. I like that for him. No, I like that because Joey does a good job identifying the running backs to pick in like round 4 through like round 10. He usually scrapes up a couple of good ones there. If he doesn't take a running back earlier than that. So St. Brown number 2. I think I would go Puka over St. Brown, but I understand Joe's point of view because Joey is low volume. I think he only does like 2, 3, or 4 managed teams, so he's very selective about. I think that's why he faded CMC this year, right?
that's why. I mean, I'll go ahead and admit it on record here. I let Chad Schroeder have CMC at 11. I took Drake London at 10. I mean, I didn't want to invest in CMC with one team. I mean, it bit me, but
Chad wasn't even a big CMC guy. If you saw his,
I did see that.
He wasn't a big CMC, and a lot of people weren't because you just don't know. I mean, like Willie said, he's he can break fantasy or he can break your team. It's one of the two.
Range of outcomes.
That's a tough risk in the first round. You don't want to do that in the first round. So,
I mean, I was telling Joe, I said CMC had 6 or 7 games with 20 plus points easily, no touchdowns in the game.
Right.
I mean, you look at Henry. I mean, it's a totally different situation. He's touchdown dependent.
And Michael, it's also if his coach is going to put him in the second half dependent too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which now where I did go different this year, like I usually go wide out, and I think the ADPs flipped on these 2 guys. Chase Brown was going always in front of JT, and I had the 10th pick. So on the turn, it was always between Chase Brown or Jonathan Taylor. So I took Jonathan Taylor, and it worked out good. But at the end of the year, like Willie said, Chase Brown was good. His ADP turned out good at the last part in the playoffs. He scored like almost 80 points in the shootout.
Well, it helps when you got Joe Burrow back there. That's the whole key. I mean, you can't account for that.
No.
Well, I mean, I discussed this with Billy before the 2025 season started. I thought the Cincinnati stack was going to be huge in the 3-week shootout. Obviously, you got to get there and win your league first, which was a problem for the Burrow, Chase Brown, Jamar Chase stack because Burrow got hurt and Chase Brown wasn't producing early in the year. So you likely needed to pivot quick, but stash those guys on the bench early on in the year and also make a good pivot and hang in there in the standings in order to cash in on that stack come the 3-week shootout. But those matchups that they had, man, and then you factor in their poor defense, it had shootout gold written all over it. That's why we targeted. That's why I was taking Chase Brown over Jonathan Taylor. I did end up with a couple of Jonathan Taylors. I should have, evened it out, but I didn't. I was so big on Cincinnati this year for fantasy football. I thought they were gonna, be very, very big at the end of the year, and they were. Chase Brown scored 29 points that last week, and Joe Burrow had 2 solid performances in the 3 weeks. So it was definitely, the process wasn't bad. It was just, it was hard to have that stack competing in those 3 weeks.
Yeah, you can't count for those injuries. I mean,
no, you can't at all. And I'll end this on a final point. It is that we all talk regularly, probably amongst the fantasy community, about these stacks being, quarterback wideout, having the Burrow Chase, Jamar Chase stack, having Goff St. Brown. It might be even more beneficial moving forward to have the quarterback running back stack that have the pass catchers. I mean, I'll speak up not for one of my teams in the past, but the team Billy and I had, it was just alpha running backs. It was Henry, Achane, and Chase Brown starting off, and we had Burrow. We didn't make the playoff, but we put up a lot of numbers. So,
you can't account for. Like last year, I went in with when they got. I didn't think Hurts and Barkley was going to be the right stack. I mean, that was the stack, and basically, you figure it was going to be Hurts and Brown, but because the Eagles, I didn't expect them to just be able to just run roughshod over, every game. Basically, it was Barkley. Like you said, you guys talked earlier. I mean, Barkley, his one big run was like a fake tush push. Their problem is the offensive line's beaten up. I mean, Jurgens is not. He could be. Wasn't the name. He could be benched. The whole line is beside Lane Johnson's injury, and they lost Becton. So on the right side, and look at all their big runs, basically were the right side last year. So
yeah,
you're right. The stack the running back, quarterback.
What worries me about about trying to stack Philadelphia players is Jalen Hurts oftentimes will have a rushing touchdown or 2 on his own and not throw for a passing touchdown. So you get or it just. I feel like the stack doesn't maximize its potential because it's not really as a condensed offense as you think. Goddard had
but last
Goddard
year
had a much
going into the season though.
I know that.
That's easy. I didn't expect the Eagles never had that kind of. The guy was. He would have broke the record if they would have let him play.
Even last year, because Saquon was so dominant, I feel like I had a couple in some spots. The Hurts, AJ Brown stack was kind of underwhelming during the Super Bowl season last year, just because
it wasn't good at all. Really.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Yeah, Jalen Hurts as a quarterback, he worries me with his consistency as far as passing numbers go. Yeah.
This is more guy, but it is. I mean, he, like Will said, he's got to run the ball. And I think last week against Buffalo, they just shut it down basically because of Barkley getting nicked up and Phillips. They said they just wanted to get out of the game. And people were, Philly, they're complaining, but they didn't want Hurts. He's going to run the ball in the playoffs, but you're right. For him to be effective, has to run the ball. You look at the box score, not even looking at, just reading the box score, look at his stat, his rushing yards. You can see how the Eagles are going to do that game. Basically, you can see if they won or lost. So.
All right, one player I want to talk about just because that there's a guy in this room right here. His name is Billy Waz. He pushed this guy up to number 6 in the New York Super, and a lot of people steamed him up into the first round. He was going as early as pick 9, 10 towards that. Billy obviously felt very strongly about him. To take him at 6, but he was consistently going 9, 10 towards the end of August. Where do you guys think Drake London? Do we get a Drake London discount going into 2026? And are we worried about his performance? Do we still hold him? Do we still think he has that type of a ceiling where he could end up in the first round in future seasons?
I mean, I think there's two things that concern me about with him. One right now is Kirk Cousins, because Kirk Cousins doesn't even look towards him the way Penix does. But that should be changed next year. Penix will come back. The second thing that bothers me, he reminds me of old Julio Jones, and it's probably just because he's a Falcon. He reminds me of old Julio Jones, where he gets so many times, if you watch the whole game with him, he gets up and he starts limping, or he grabs his ankle, or he grabs his knee. And it's then you think he's fine. He finishes the game, and then midweek it's Wednesday, and you're like, oh, he's questionable now. And now he doesn't play. And I was huge on him. The New York Super, going back that real quick, I got the last pick out of the hat, and I got the 6th spot, which is in my opinion, it was the worst spot in the draft. Obviously, the people in the Super thought it was the worst too, because everybody got a different spot from that. And I had my choice between, it was basically, and I had other choices, of course, but it was between Barkley and him. I could have taken McCaffrey there, but I wasn't going to. But and I didn't want Barkley. I didn't feel great about him either. And I'm like, you know what? That's such a wide receiver heavy draft. And I'm like, I'm taking him. I loved him. He was my wide receiver 4 on my board. I had him for over 300 points. I actually did, I looked through yesterday. Joey and I were kind of going back and forth on Twitter about, but I looked at everything. If you extrapolate his games out, his points per game, he would have had about 280 some. If he played every game, his points per game. I could have lived with that. But when you get 190 or whatever the hell he ended up with, you can't do it. It just doesn't work. And his last game was just horrible. I hope he doesn't even play this week. I hope he doesn't play, because I'll be disgusted. If he goes out there and has a 30-point game, I'm going to be I'll be pissed. I think I could see him going somewhere between 14 to 18, early, mid-second round.
Yeah, he won't be a turn guy. And I bet you in these May and June drafts, I'm going to even say this, he'll maybe be in the 19-20 range.
Yeah, because he fell to the middle a couple times in drafts this year. So, yeah, that's very possible.
But he's still a great talent, and as long as Atlanta tries to fix themselves, to make him a competent organization for 2026, he's still a good talent to take the risk on. Not a first-round risk, but definitely a second. So,
yeah, we missed a lot of games with him. I don't know if he missed 3 or 4 with the knee, but he also got sick on Saturday, and he was out before.
I think he missed 5, Joey.
Well, we played 11 games
this bye week too.
Yep.
We missed out a lot of.
That's a lot of games.
Yeah,
he got sick one weekend, I think, right before us.
And then you got your quarterback. You got like you said, Billy. You got Cousins in there instead of Penix, and you're missing it. So it's.
He has 5. He does the volume is probably going to be there as long as he's healthy. He had 5 out of his 11 games. He had double-digit targets, and his spike weeks are there. He gave us a 38.8 in week 9 against New England. I remember that game. He dominated Christian Gonzalez all game long. It's the type of wide receiver Christian Gonzalez struggles with, the big physical wide receivers. Guys, big athletic, I should say, not so much physical, but the big athletic wide receivers give Christian Gonzalez a little bit of a problem. Did we? Well,
Hey, I was going to ask you all something too. Back I'm not saying you two or all 3 of you, or even myself, but the first round who might would move in the first round. Do y'all think Trey McBride goes 12?
Absolutely.
Seriously?
I think
Yes.
he goes. I think he could go as high as like 9 or 10, Joey.
I
Yes.
do too. That's the guy I think that will move up. Yes, he should. But
He finished what, a full 100 points more than the tight end too?
302 to 189, and if you 199. I'm sorry. If you take that 45 points out of Pitts, I mean he.
Well, he's still an alpha. Let's not get twisted here.
Right. Yeah.
Tight end 2.
Bowers will be the bargain this year, won't it? Compared to like McBride was last year.
I'll be honest with you, Joey. I think Bowers still goes in the second round next year, late second, and towards the very end of the drafts, that's where he was going. Bowers was, McBride was falling obviously in the third. Willie and I loved McBride last year. We had him on a lot of teams. Still do love him. He's great. I do think he makes it in because I look at, like, I'll give you an example, like him or Malik Neighbors. Who do you want? Like, I know what I'm getting out of McBride. Well, let me rephrase that. As long as Kyler Murray's not quarterback, and I know what I get out of McBride. As long as
I wrote that down with McBride. I mean, everybody, you don't know. You think there's Murray. I mean, he averaged 12 points with Murray, 1 touchdown, and he went up to 21 with Brissett. So
yeah.
I mean, that's, if we knew that's 2020. I mean, we knew he was going to be good. But
right. Well, the touchdowns were the knock. That was everybody was saying. Oh, he doesn't score. He didn't score in college. He didn't score in high school, and he clearly blew that out of the water.
Oh, but it's his fault. Just remember that. That's his fault.
Right.
Sorry, I got an argument in the offseason with the guy about this topic. I can't wait to bring it back up.
Oh, really?
What happened?
Just a beat writer basically saying that Kyler wasn't the issue, and McBride's the touchdown regression king, even from college. And I put up some stats, and he still disagreed with me. So I'm just going to pull up a conversation from the summer, probably get a petty response, and then I'll move on with my life.
I like the Twitter. I was telling Joe the guy you got in a nice argument with the Denver guy when he told Denver. That was great. I was laughing at that. That was funny.
Well, and
right, you were right too. He tried to come back because you're down. Wow, he just come. That wasn't even the point, though.
No, it's not the point. It's called deflection, and Michael, that's what a lot of teams want to do when they support their teams. I get it. Like, I might not be the most loyal Dallas fan. I'll still support them, but I'm going to choose fantasy over them. At the end of the day, your emotions are going to take over, and you're going to just be a keyboard warrior. And I'm going to be sarcastic ass back. And I don't care. That's fine. That's great.
But you were right. I think it's going to pan out that way. I think you called them before. I don't think they're going to do anything in the playoffs. That's
the only one that will probably whip back at me with a very witty remark be Paul Spateri, another great player.
Oh yeah, he loves John Elway.
Yes, he does.
He's Big Bo next guy too, I think.
Yeah, I mean, but that was funny.
So Mike, I got to ask you: is there any player? It doesn't have to be in the range we're talking now, the first, second round. Is there any player that you want to bring up, that you want to discuss, that you feel like might be a value or might be too high to draft? Give us somebody like Joey just name drop Trey McBride. So why don't you give us somebody you want to discuss?
Player, I mean, the guy that really I had no shares of, and he was really I treat him like an afterthought. Was Olave. I mean, I looked at all the teams that did well. The guys that drafted, it looks like they were just target hunters. JSN, Puka. And Olave. Everybody had Olave, and he was like a 7th round a lot of times.
7th round, yeah.
7th round, I saw him a lot of times. It's the guy I think had a good one of the top teams. I forget which, if it was the prime time or the OC. He actually took Jerry Judy before. I mean, so people like the.
That's not a value.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody just a lot of guys. I did. Maybe you guys did. I had no shares of Olave.
Some people were taking Calvin Ridley over Olave.
We don't need.
Hey, right here. Hey,
right here too. Don't need to talk about that name.
I mean,
I don't talk about it either.
the thing is, Olave in the late 6th, 7th round, we all should have been taking him. Like, what's the downside? None. Like, if he doesn't work out, who cares?
Right.
I mean, and I think a lot of people were scared off. I know Nelson Sousa brought this up, and I tend to agree with this. He was worried about the quarterback situation. Like, you were looking at literally probably the worst going into the season. Them and the Browns were probably the 2 worst quarterback situations in the NFL. And people were still taking Judy, though, before him. And I'm like, and, the thing about Chris Olave, let's be fair. I mean, how many concussions did he have the year before? 2 or 3?
Yeah.
And it just takes one shot. Now we hear about this lung thing that apparently he had in the preseason. I'm like, wait a minute. So he had it all preseason and then all season, and now they're going to shut him down in week 18? I'm like, that makes no sense. But I don't know if that's true or not. But the point of the matter is he was amazing. And if you look on almost every single team, the online, the primetime, Bullet, FFPC, he was on every single team. And it makes sense. It's like those are the guys that lift the team to those spots. And he was great during the playoffs too. So
depending on your build, you could have had him as a flex, but he was wide receiver 3. He was a great wide receiver 3 target. I thought that was my offseason take. I actually didn't end up with much of them, even though I wasn't fading him. I don't know if that makes any sense. I guess I just didn't get the opportunity to pick him.
There were times I wanted him, and they just like I'd be in a draft, and I'd be like, "Oh man," I'd be like 2 picks away. Hey, I'll take Olave, and he'd get picked right in front of me. Like I can't tell you how many times that happened, and not that I was like, he wasn't like, "Oh my god, I got to get Olave," but I don't know. It makes total sense why we should have been taking him. Let's just put it that way.
Like I say, one of your all's buddies never will forget, going back to what Willie talked about the umpire, never will forget. I slapped myself in the face. I remember Chris Vaccaro saying, why ain't everybody drafting Olave as your wide receiver 4, all these targets? He said that on the show back. I never did go get it. I could never get him, but he threw him out there a long time ago.
His opportunity and his usage metrics, they all point to future production and good production. It's just a matter of quarterback play. I think has been his Achilles heel. He's always had that 25% plus target share. Looking at some of these underlying metrics here, I know that you got to take these numbers with a grain of salt, as they're not like, they don't like necessarily, because you got to factor in the team situation and game script and all this other stuff. But he was number 1 in air yards, number 1 in deep targets, number 3 in regular targets, number 10 in target share, 29.4% target share, 27.5% target rate. He's playing 73% of the snaps. Number 3 in routes run. His usage just screams it should a great floor, great production. We were getting that in the 6th or 7th round. Value. He was one of the best values for sure.
And one of the most important things, 84 points in a shootout.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he came through down the stretch on a team that's was playing from behind a lot, getting a lot of garbage points. So just, it was definitely a recipe for wide receiver 3 value for sure.
Joe, absolutely. And one point that I keep reminding myself heading into next year is don't live in fear about these injuries. Seriously, Olave's a great candidate. CMC's obvious, but like Stafford, everyone was freaked out about the back.
And there's zero downside taking Stafford in the 15th round. None.
He was free.
He was free.
You could have him or JJ McCarthy. How do you think you're going to like life right now?
And he was on some waiver wires too there for a
He was. That's why I picked him up a lot.
Listen, I was getting Caleb Williams in round 16. He ended up being QB7, so that was pretty good.
That's why, in fact, that I got him. I took him. I think things got a little more clear at the end of August, and then I got 2 shares of Puka. But the other one that really, I mean, I probably shouldn't have done it. I kind of passed on them. Was the HN calf.
Yeah.
Well, I said to myself, you know what? We're playing to win. We want to get in the shootout. If I don't look, I lost a little money this year. I had 4 seconds, two wild cards, so it's 6 wild teams in the shootout of 13. But you got to play to win. I should have just said forget it, because they're most of the time, like you said, they're not telling the truth. Yeah. And I didn't have any shares of them.
Michael, that's my guy that I would love. And he was a first rounder by the end of draft season, but he was, I mean, at the start of draft season, you could have got him towards the end of the second. I think HN is poised. He's still young, had almost 500 yards receiving. He has 85 targets. He has 1,300 rushing, almost 10 rushing touchdowns. He's at 8 right now, regardless. Got all-pro center, decent line. I don't really agree with the head coach's philosophy. That's easy.
He's a running back, though.
But he's the premium running back, and he can break fantasy. So that would be my guy.
That was just a bad mistake. You know, I said to myself, I'm not going to.
Well, let me ask you this, Willie. I know you all watch these games too. Don't you think that toward the end of the year, Mike McDaniel scaled that down a little bit, and HN got more involved than like throwing the waddle and stuff? I mean, he was really what you wanted for fantasy too. I thought the offense shifted a little bit more toward HN toward the end when they started winning a few games.
Yeah, they're definitely more competitive.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was definitely good looks. I mean, it can also be beneficial with Tyreek going down. I know Tyreek was a head case all year, but you get more opportunities that way. But again, you can't teach speed, and you can't teach the moments he can change the game. Like seriously, he's on a dime, just gone.
And he catches a lot. He catches a lot of balls. I mean, the one thing I always look in the beginning when I sort of, the PPR, it never made sense to me. I mean, a 2 yard, loss on the reception is worth more than like a 5 yard run.
Yeah.
I mean, stuff like those are the rules, though. That's what we play with. So it's just, that makes sense, does it? But those are the rules, and those
are the rules, and you got to live by the rules. That'll get you ahead
accordingly.
Yeah. I think the one thing too, going back to Olave real quick, what I got burned on, again, I wasn't like fading Olave. I just wasn't getting him. But he certainly wasn't a target, that's for sure. Was Kamara. Like, I thought the quarterback, because they would have a rookie quarterback or Rattler, they would dump off more. And Kellen Moore came in and he was like, nope, we're not doing that. We're throwing downfield. And that changed everything because Kamara was a disaster this year. And I had a lot of him early on. Thankfully, I got off of him late. But I had way too much of him early on, and it burned me on those teams.
Yeah, I had some Kamara that hurt too.
He did well like the first 6-7 games. How was he, Kamara?
Yeah, he was okay, but he wasn't even that great. But then he just, then he got injured. I think he missed the last 7 games or something.
I worked at the winning OC team, basically. The guy, I don't know what he did. He had Olave, Juwan Johnson, and Kamara. And it was like telling Joey he had an easy lineup. His 3 wide receivers was JSN, Olave, and Flowers. Didn't have to move him. Then he had 4 running backs: Bijan, Javante, ETN, and Kamara. It was like, I said, that's what you want. I don't need all this. He had no complication with Drake May as his quarterback. He didn't change it. There's 1 bye weeks.
Having a stacked lineup, having a stacked team can be a curse. It can be a curse because it causes you to make so many bad decisions and bad start-sit lineups. So people are always like, "Oh, that's such great! You have all those players." I'm like, no. Sometimes it's just better to have it cut and dry. Like this is your lineup. I'm not going to mess with it. Although Willie and I know we do that. We tend to get a little cute sometimes and try to play the matchups. And sometimes you just play your guys. You play your studs. Like that's the motto. But sometimes it's tough decisions. It's game flow. It's it's everything. We're so programmed to whatever we saw the last week. All of us. We see what we saw. We're like, oh, they're going to do that again. No, not necessarily. I mean, that's just the way it goes. But
I feel like a lot of us too. There was a lot of injuries this year. The injury bug was pretty bad week to week. There were times where we had to dip into our bench, and it led to some difficult decisions and leaning on matchups and whatnot.
Tucker Craft
but-
killed me.
Oh, that was a killer.
I mean, the key was to play that Tampa Bay team. I mean, I got help, with all the guys all the players that if you had against Tampa down the stretch, whether it was Trevian Henderson, whether it was Pitts, it was just you feasted on them.
Yeah,
basically.
So I wanted to go back to Olave real quick. Where do you guys think he lands as far as ADP goes?
You guys got a better handle on than I do. I mean, Will and Billy.
He was going in the 6th. The year before, 2024, he was like at around the 4 or 5 turn, I want to say.
No, 2 years ago.
No,
He was
he
a
was
second
yeah.
rounder.
Was he that high?
Yeah,
was he
yeah.
that high?
Yeah,
He was a late
high.
second. He was a late second round pick,
And
mid to
Derek-
late.
And you can give your receipt, Joe, to Derek Carr for almost killing him with all those.
Yeah. Don't he seem like a perfect 25th pick in the 3rd round reversal?
Yeah, I could.
Or maybe 24.
Yeah, there were times he fell right to there, and it was a great pick. And the thing is, next year, I mean, I think I have him right now because I basically did like the first 3 rounds. I kind of mapped out what I thought might happen, and I have him. I think I have him the 2nd pick of the 3rd round, and I think I don't know if that's good, bad. I don't know, but see now. To me, I don't like getting guys when they have a great season coming off and then paying up. We should have got him last year when he was down. That's because now you pay up, and next year will be the year he has all the concussions again, and you'll be screwed. So,
I have him at 29.
yeah, I think I have him at 26 or 7. So, yeah,
He's gonna.
I'll tell you who the guy I do like. Where we're talking about, like Billy talked about Olave and Willie talking about you, Joe. I know everybody what they see, and based on where he was going this year, I think I'll take the dip on Ladd McConkey. Based on where he's going this year.
You're a braver man than me, Joey.
Next year,
I was stunned when I looked at how many points he had this year. I didn't realize. I think it was 180.
180 something. I had it pulled up there.
And I had to look at it again because I was like,
190.
he was that bad. Like 180 is like that's like. That's like Wan'Dale Robinson last year type. I mean, like it's not a guy you took in the late 2nd, early 3rd round. He was very disappointing with the
11.3 points per game.
Yeah, just not. I mean, but
He's gonna fall back, so I guess that's what
he is.
He is.
It might be somebody to gamble on.
Now, Joey, I will take his teammate that will have both his starting tackles back in Amari and Hampton.
Oh yes.
Amari and Hampton's going to be huge next year. I agree.
And I'll credit Billy with that one. That he's going to be solid.
Yeah, he should be very good next. I like everything I see about that guy.
Oh, I do too.
You're right. The big difference, you get the offensive line, you get those injuries. It's
But when he came back, like that game against Houston, he had 20 points. He scored, but he had 20 points against Houston, and that's a great defense. And he's involved in the passing game. He's a hard runner, and you start opening some holes for that guy. It's going to be all systems go.
I agree with Willie. I like him too a lot coming in this year.
The offensive line should be healthy next year too. That's a top 5 offensive line when healthy for sure.
I know we're cutting close on time for us, Joe. But I do want to ask all of you this.
Are you gonna talk about the Bears wide receivers? Nice. I was gonna bring that up.
Bring this up. I mean, I like Luther Bird a lot, the next person, but I'm asking you all: is on Doomsday going to be the best pick out of the bunch? Is Burden going to shoot up so high that you might take on Doomsday? I'm just asking. I said I like Loveland. I like Burden, but I think on Doomsday, where everybody's watching, okay, his foot got hurt, fractured, whatever, but he was wide receiver 3 early on forever. Had a real good start. I'm not saying Burden could outplay him, but I'm just wondering, do you think on Doomsday would be the best value?
I think. I mean, I would, as of right now, I think a Doomsday would be the better pick as far as like who's going to have more points next year. That's who I would say. I think Burden's going to get, especially in the playoffs, if he
keeps doing good,
he's going to get steamed up. I think he's going to be a very popular pick next year. I do like a Doomsday. I've always liked Odunze. I think he's a great receiver. And I think everybody's going to be in on that Bears offense. Let's put it that way.
Second year in the system.
Loveland.
Yeah.
I'll go as bold as saying this. I think Mr. Loveland is about to send Mr. Warren in terms of being a prospect. I mean, I love Tyler Warren. Don't get me wrong. He's from around here where Billy and I are.
Yeah.
Oh, where are you guys at?
We're in Richmond, Richmond.
Right outside Richmond, Virginia.
You're in Virginia.
Yes, sir.
Okay, gotcha.
And, he was a great product, coming out through here, and he's a great just player in general. But I don't know what's going to happen, with that quarterback system. And you just know you have Caleb and Ben Johnson. And Colson Loveland was drafted in the first round. The first 10 picks for a reason. So I feel very strongly about Loveland. I do see Luther Burden next year, Joey, being kind of like a JMO Jr.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
Yeah, he's got all the attributes like JMO to kind of break away in these boom plays. And then you're going to have the weeks you're disappointed in him, maybe like 4 points. So.
Right. That's what I was wondering. Like I said, I mean, I ain't got nothing against Burden, but I'm sitting there looking at it. I was telling these boys, I said, kind of like on Doomsday, just a little bit better based on he probably go around or two later than what Burden.
I mean,
he just keeps doing good.
If DJ Moore is traded, which everything we've heard he's going to be gone.
He's going to be. Yeah, I don't think
It's
he's
easier
there
for
next year.
everybody.
It is.
Guys,
and
right?
there's no reason if Rome Odunze is healthy, he shouldn't get 8 to 10 targets a game. Seriously, like 8 targets a game. He's that good.
Great.
He's a great possession receiver. He should be peppered. But people will be down on him, especially, we got the playoffs coming. I'm assuming he'll be ready to play the first round of the playoffs, I would assume.
Right.
Yeah.
I
like
want to.
Willie's comparison with JMO is pretty good. I like that.
I think so too. That's what I used to call Xavier Worthy. I told Joe and him. I said, it's the James Williams, Xavier Worthy.
He's Devery Henderson, Joey. He's more like
Devery Henderson. Joe, I just want to add.
Good.
Joe, I just want to add one thought to Roma Dunze and why I like the call. I like the speculation, the question by you as him being the better value. Roma Dunze will be entering year 3. And we know historically wide receivers with high draft capital usually take a huge step forward in year 3, especially if they're attached to an ascending offense. In an ascending quarterback like Caleb Williams also, I believe, is entering his 3rd season. So this is usually the checkpoint where these players take another leap into prime career territory.
Now my one thing with Rome is he better figure out the stress fracture. I was telling Billy this weeks ago, and I actually dropped him on a qualifying online championship team. It was in the top 20. I dropped him for Michael Carter. Didn't make a difference there. But anyway, you better fix that stress fracture. That's all I'm saying moving forward.
Right.
Yeah, I do. There is maybe like a slight concern about durability issues and being able to handle 10 targets per game at the NFL level.
Yeah.
But I think that a lot of that has to do with, how little he was used in year 1. They kind of brought him along slowly. He didn't really take on much volume until the second half of the season. So I think that they're just, this is why I mentioned the 3rd year leap. Sure. I could see him certainly being a candidate there for that.
And he also went from a dipshit and Matt Eberflus to a mastermind and Johnson.
Yeah.
I sent them boys a message earlier before the show. Caleb Williams was 13th last year. Now he's 7th. So he moved up like 6 spots just 1 year under Ben Johnson. So
just look at the record. Look at Dan Campbell's record with Ben Johnson and not with Ben Johnson. Like, you got to give Ben Johnson his props, period.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. You just have to. He's the new Sean McVay. Like, so, if that's who you want to say is the best, offensive mind in the game.
Right.
Sean Payton would say it's himself, of course, but
he's the smartest person in the room. So
he is.
The funny thing is, about Dan, losing Johnson drove the Dan Campbell stir crazy that he's calling the offensive plays. He just forgot about his defense. The defense got so. That's crazy, man.
Well, the defense looks awful.
He's all out of whack there. Scott Johnson.
Yeah, that's Dan. Yeah, Dan Campbell's always like I feel like he's slightly overrated as a coach. I think he's his own worst enemy in a way. So
He needs to cut back on the caffeine.
Nice. What time are we at? We're at 9:30. We can go. You guys have anything else to add before we bring on our next two guests? Are you guys good?
Man, it's been fun. It's always fun talking all
I had a great time meeting you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Crafted with you, look forward to. I'm probably going to be in New York this year.
Awesome.
Oh, nice.
Look forward to.
Well, I'll tell you what. And Willie and Joe were there. Chris Vaccaro hosted it this year at his GST Tavern, and it was awesome. It was such a great time. It was such a. I've been in the NFFC since 2004, and this was the best yet. It was the best. The best. The food was great. The drinks, the camaraderie. It was just awesome. It was a great time, and so yeah, definitely come on.
That's what I was telling Joe I said, you know what, the competition's great. The guys are great as people. Forget the players. You guys are all good. But I've seen just about they're better people than they are players, and that's saying a lot.
Well, yeah, I totally agree. And New York's a magical time with the best drafters in the game.
Agree.
Not even close. It's not even close.
It's a friggin' what is Theo call it? A meat grinder. The meat. It really is. You got Frank Mamola, you got Chris Vaccaro, you got Michael Edelman, you got Michael Zucca, the Guilds, Mike Sander, Nelson Souza, Billy, Willie,
Terry.
Yeah, and then you got
wasn't Jack Hahn there this year too?
Jack Hahn. Chris Eibel comes in for the auctions. Chris Eibel was there. I mean, and then as you get what's his name also, Andrew Guilds was there. The Guilds, he was there this year.
Andrew Geller, yeah.
Matt Bodica came up. I mean, it's a bloodbath. And when you can win a league,
that's a riot.
And when you win a league up there, you feel good about it.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I had a 10-4 primetime team that just missed, and then I had that New York team, that 350 that it came down to. It was like 1994.25, 1993.75, and 1992.75.
Yeah, Joe, we are happy because we competed against you in that primetime. We're happy you did well because that primetime for us.
It was when you took the minute you took JSN right in front of us and we took Marvin Harrison. I said we're done. We're done. It was, and I knew you were taking JSN. That's not even the issue. And I say this all the time. Every draft has a sweet spot. Every draft you draft in it, and every draft's different. It could be somebody. It depends. It doesn't matter who you're next to, but every spot has a nice spot where you're at, and things just kind of fall that way. And then if you're on the other ends of those, it's a disaster. And
it is, yeah.
Yeah. So I felt like you were in a good spot there. We were not in a good spot that draft. No.
I think Mike Sander, Mike got me I wanted Trey McBride. And he took Trey McBride one spot, but I wanted to take him in the second round. That was my second round target in the prime time. But ended up with JSN. No, I got JSN in the third, I think, but I forget who I took in the second round. But yeah, no, that team was good.
You took Chase Brown because we wanted him.
Yeah, it was Chase Brown. Yeah, it was Chase Brown.
We ended up with Derrick Henry, so you can see how this worked out. Although Henry, after all said and done, Henry ended up with 270 some points, but of course that 45-point game kind of helped.
It was bookend. His two biggest games, his first game and his last game.
Yeah.
The monetary results of those two teams were disappointing. I didn't make any prize money off of them, but the process and the results, the improvements from the year before.
And Chris Vaccaro mentioned this on the Empire the other day. The game has changed so much. The margin of error is razor thin anymore. It's everybody. Like I started playing fantasy football in 1987, where you really had to do your homework. Like there wasn't the internet. There wasn't all that. And now, of course, the internet, but now it's like everybody's got the same information. So it's like
You got no advantages.
it's just hard to get an advantage. Exactly. Like, I always felt like, hey, I had a little bit of advantage over people. Now it's kind of like, I don't know, I mean, we're all just kind of doing the best we can with it. And you hope and there's, obviously there's luck to this game. Nobody denies that. But, we don't like to spend a ton of money just because on luck. It's a lot like poker, people talk. It's a lot like poker. Things have to fall your way, a lot of times. That's just the way it goes.
It is not even coincidence, not luck, but you do see a trend with the same guys at the top or towards the top. So
when you see certain people winning big contests, like over the years, it makes sense. You're like, oh, okay. So I mean, like Chad's he's a perfect example.
Yeah, he's obviously got the right. I told Joe, in my opinion, if they didn't have third round reversal in the NFC, it just wouldn't be unfair. It would just be so unfair. Am I right?
You are correct. It's the best way to draft.
FFPC players don't say that.
Players, I mean, sure, you could win on the back end, but I think if you're in the front end, most of you probably 10 guys out of 12, 9, or multiple champions. You guys play a lot of teams, have a lot of experience. It just would be unfair, right?
It would, and I mean, I think what makes the NFFC
out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
If you weren't in the top 4 or 5 picks,
sure. Mm-hmm. And the NFFC, what makes it great is you have the 3RR with the KDS because you can pick where you want to pick. I mean, everybody likes choices. I mean, shit, we all go to go out to a restaurant. We want choices, right? You want everybody should have a choice in that, and that's what makes it great, in my opinion. And the 3RR, I think it just levels everything out. I think it's great. Somebody wants to start from the back, great. You want to start with the big stud of Bijan, start at the front. So yeah.
I agree with that as well, Mike. It was just given certain people the top picks, they get that third guy before.
Just think all those third round picks are early at those guys. It's look, you could win from the back end that way, but it'd be difficult. I put my money on the front guys.
Sure, teams like think about a start. You could have started with over an FFPC. I mean, it's tight end heavy, so it's a little different, but you could have started with a Bijan, Jonathan Taylor, JSN. Right. You can't do that in the NFFC. Well, JSN did fall back.
You could.
Not at the end not in late August, you couldn't. But
JSN, you could have got him in the 7, but you weren't getting him and Taylor basically.
I got JSN was going in the 3rd round in a lot of drafts.
He was,
he went early. Usually 3rd round, right in the middle at the latest. The ones I've been in.
There were a few where early on. There were a few I know he slipped to early, team 2 got him in the 3rd round, but it was rare. Michael, you're right. I mean, he was an early 3rd round pick. For the most part, he should have been a 2nd round pick. Everybody should have saw that. But
do you guys play any FFPC?
I do not. I used to years ago. They were Virginia. They did not for 3 years. They did not have their license in Virginia, so that's when I stopped and I never went back.
Yeah, they treated. First of all, they got it's 5-6 times the amount of players basically, and it's definitely softer competition but they do it for the masses because you can, guys can go in. You can you don't have to have 3 wide receivers, so you can goof up basically and have 4 running backs. Yeah, so, that sort of thing. It's kind of
you get more flexibility with your build.
You get more fun, but you have no say in the KDS. No, I mean, you're just basically you
can get the 12th pick 5 times in a row.
Exactly.
You got to have little.
I did make money because I got the 7th. I play a couple of them. I got the 7th pick twice, and you get a free best ball. And I made money on the free best ball. I was looking for 3 in a row because I get a free main. If you get 3 in a row numbers, it's a little gimmicky, but I agree. The NFC is so much better in my opinion.
Talking about the draft board, I always give Billy carried it because I didn't really start playing the prime time till 2020, and then Silver Bullet came along. I always tell this story. He got me on Devontae Adams, which I won my prime time that first year, but I took him I flipped the whole board, especially you can do that in the Silver Bullet. I took him at 2 1 year in the Silver Bullet. I won that league too, but now you can, what I'm getting at, you can flip that board whatever player you all choose to build up.
Absolutely, Joey. Yeah.
So I was the only team at 2 in the Bullet that year that had Devontae Adams. So I said, well, it went well.
I mean, if somebody would have taken Chris Olave in the 4th, we would have laughed at him. And who would be laughing after, it's
Yeah, Joey. No, I mean, seriously, hey, you went with it. It paid off for you, and it's great. And guess what? You went with your plan. I'll tell you another good story. It was 2023 or 2024, excuse me. We're in New York. Billy and I have a team for our prime time, and he's a great player. Will Hobbs took Terry McLaurin and
Rasheed Rice.
Yeah, and we have a murderous row, basically. It's like Nelson, Glenn Lowy, Vaccaro, and we're all like, okay. But he finished with the top points, and Billy and I had the top record.
We ended up beating him in the playoff, but his team, but he had Derrick Henry too, who was really good that year. But we were all like, when he took those 2 at the turn at 12-13, we were all like, what? Like both those guys were 3rd-round picks, and he took them at 12 and 13. And
the thing is, if you think that if you're so high on a player and you know that the next time you pick they're not going to be there, you have to make a choice right then and there if you wanna flip the board like Joe says and push them up.
Especially when you're on the ends. Yeah, you do. You got to make decisions. There's no doubt about it.
It was funny. I won the prime time at the 10 spot, but I won the Bullet 2 spot with the same player. So I mean, like I said, it was just I just want to be different at that 2 spot, but it's worked out good.
It was interesting.
Don't be afraid to take your guy, more or less.
They said on the Empire, in the Platinum, that guy Santos took, at the 12, he took Chase Brown, he took Tet.
Yep.
And
he got second overall, Michael, in that. He got second.
Yeah, I mean, there's a guy that, you're probably people that don't know, and say, what's he do, but look,
he makes some bold picks every year. I forget what year he was in my Silver Bullet draft, but he took Tony Pollard at 10.
Yeah,
I want to.
Mike's a great player. He's a great player.
It was like a couple of years ago when Tony Pollard was up in the 2nd round, right? When he was on Dallas. He pushed him. He took him right there at 10.
He gets very convicted on certain players, and like Chris said, when you're doing a platinum, it's 20,000, and you do a diamond that's 10, and you do these Lindor, and you're picking from the same spot. I'm going to probably mix it up a little because if Ted or Chase Brown tear their ACL week 1, you're done. You're done. But I mean, that's a credit to him and how good of a drafter he is, because to take those 2 at 12 and 13 and still get in the playoff and get second overall, that's pretty impressive.
Yep.
And he works it all like 17 weeks of pain, like you would say, Bill. He works it all year. I mean, certain players like you all, I mean, you're going to work it the whole till week 14 till the waivers is done. I mean,
it's nonstop, Joey.
It is. You have to. If you want to compete, it's like them, NFLC, I'm low volume, but I'm so grateful for the leagues I've won because you don't win. You earn everything you get in NFLC. It's not nothing given to you. You earn it.
You do earn it. And again, you go, even the lineups decisions with defensive matchups and kicker go a long way. They go a long way.
And I've been on record to say this. I've never said to you all, these people say, you win best ball. I'm not saying you're a good drafter, but would you actually make that decision in a lineup call? I mean, that's just set it, forget it. And I like setting your own lineups and winning, I mean, go for what you get, and stick to your process, do your thing each week. And
not only that, but Joe, best ball rosters stay the same. Like there could be guys that you drop and make a mistake and drop, and then you never see them again. In best ball, you have no choice. You got them. They could become relevant in week 15 and score like the amount of points they score between 15 and 17, and that's usually the difference. It's
Right. I'm not
it's
saying
definitely a different game.
I don't know how good of. Would
You
you really?
guys play more drafts than I do. I feel you probably feel you gotta, every August you guys gotta go to Costco and get stock up on Advil, because the fab. That's the key. That's what I learned basically.
In-season management.
Fab,
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't know how much what do you think fab is in terms, obviously the draft's very important. How much is fab percentage wise to the whole?
I always think it's like 30%, maybe. Like
feels like 60%.
Well, it can be. Certain years it can be. I mean,
headache.
I mean, I love the grind. I actually really do enjoy it. I mean, trust me, there's weeks where I'm busy and it's trying to find the time to cram it in, and I got to get up early, but I'm up here at 11:30. I'm still doing stuff, cranking out things or whatever. And it's a lot. But I enjoy it. As long as my body will allow me to do it, I'm going to keep doing it. So that's the way I look at it.
It's physical, right?
It is. Oh, it takes a toll. There's no doubt. It takes a toll on you. If you're not, I mean, I'm somebody who can function on a little bit of sleep. My wife, not so much. But if you're somebody that needs your 7-8 hours, probably not for you to have a really high volume, because it's just a lot.
It is. And I probably do 1/3 of the volume that you guys do.
In terms.
Yeah,
Wednesdays they're fun.
Yeah,
I try to break it up and do some one day, some the next day. But at the same time, you got to keep up with the news. It's definitely mentally draining.
I tell you too, guys. I mean, unless you actually need a player, if you don't want to blow your money, Saturday's the best bargain shopping. Really.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
You can wait till Saturday, but it's almost like you get better deals. Most people just like, okay, I've done all week.
Right. There's a lot of people. I would say, Joey, I'd probably say 60% of leagues don't even do a thing on Saturday.
Unless they miss out on what they need on Wednesday.
Right. Yeah.
This is injury midweek or something,
And if you see some late news in the week that changes something, or if you think it might leak in the next week, it's a great time to pick up somebody up for a couple bucks, and why not? Especially if you have trash on your roster,
or even take a chance on a guy that hadn't popped yet.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So Dan and Josh have been waiting patiently.
Okay,
I gotta get them on here, man.
I'll get up and let y'all go.
You guys say any last words? Get them out now. Tell the people where they can find you. Obviously, just our Monday show on Steve's channel, and anything else you want to share.
No,
Joe.
I guess we'll be doing some
great to meet you guys finally. I see
too,
you on a lot of live streams. That's really how I learned, basically watching. That's how I learned it. It's for me. That's the best process, basically watching.
Sure.
And picking that up, basically, and learning. You constantly learning.
Well, absolutely, Michael. Hey, great talking to you tonight, and great year competing against you. Like I said, it was really. I wasn't pumped to go against your team, but it was really admirable to see what you made. So.
Yeah, it was. It's fun. That's what it's all about.
So,
really.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining. I'm gonna drop you guys down and
Thank you.
bring on the
Take it easy, Bubba.
Good night, guys. Happy New Year.
You too.
I'm gonna grab some water while you're switching up here.
Yep.
I'm gonna do the same real quick.
All right. Gonna go ahead and bring on my next two guests. You know them. They're on with me every single week. We got Dan Jewett and Josh Bolin. How's it going, guys, tonight? Thank you for being patient. What do you guys think of the show so far? Any thoughts?
Well, Joe, the night after New Year's Eve and everybody's up late, and then you saved us for the end, and you guys have taken almost all my talking points, so this will be fun.
How long have you guys been playing NFFC? I've seen your names before. I don't know how long you guys have been in it.
I think this is our 5th year. Billy,
Okay.
we met you for a quick minute. I think the year You went in 21.
I met you in
whole thing.
Vegas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we talked.
Yeah,
you went the
I
whole
remember
thing.
you guys. Okay. I'd seen you before, but I couldn't.
I think that was our second year. I think.
Okay. Yeah, you guys came in with all the Bengals gear on.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. Hey, it's great.
You
offense.
just won. You had just won with Burrow and Chase the year before.
I did. Yeah. I do remember that. That's the last time I was been in Vegas, actually.
Yeah,
So that's
you
that's
guys
one.
have Murderers Row in New York, and then most of those guys come out to Vegas,
Yes.
and you throw ADP out the window because everybody that they couldn't get up to that point, they're just like Billy did with Drake London. This is my last shot. I'm going and getting whoever, and it's just nuts.
That truly is your last shot too. That's it. So you want somebody, you got to get them that weekend.
And then you
And
throw
the
in
Thursday games, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Friday now, game 2, the international affair in South America.
Yeah.
So there's one thing that Josh and Dan mentioned about the Vegas drafts that I'm a little bit jealous because I don't think we've had anything like that in New York, and well, at least in the 2 years that I've gone to New York is seeing the Hall of Fame inductions and the trophies, giving it out to the winner, the previous year's winners, and honoring that. That must be pretty cool to be a part of and see for sure. So I'm a little jealous that I haven't seen anything like that yet at an NFC live draft. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. It is cool.
Yeah, it's cool and also the most intimidating thing ever if it's your first or second year, and you're sitting there, and as they start calling people up, you're like, 5 of these guys we're drafting with are former champions or Hall of Famers. This is going to be interesting.
It's like poker. When you don't know who the fish is in the room, you look around, you're the fish.
Yeah.
You're the
Nice. All right, so you guys have been listening backstage the whole time. Is there anything that we've talked about that you guys have any points that you want to share? You said that we took all your talking points already, Josh. So now's your time to piggyback and add anything to some of the stuff we talked about already. If you have anything that you wanted to add, go ahead, that we talked about. Are you in agreement with Bijan being number 1 overall? Well, let me ask you that question.
Me and Dan differ on this. I think that Bijan is, but if Algier's gone, I think it's just going to be a huge smash.
I think just listening to you guys, I'm on the Jamar side. You can't go wrong with 1, 2, or 3. So when we're talking KDS, 3 might be the most popular pick next year. It's very early right now, but I'll just take whoever falls of those 3.
And 1's normally a bad omen. It seems like it has been for the last few years. It just, I don't think Jamar Chase had a bad year this year. Obviously Burrow getting hurt didn't help, but the year before, was it Jefferson? And he got hurt. I think Jefferson was 1, and then he got hurt that year. He was out for like 5 or 6 games, and then McCaffrey the 1 year. Or McCaffrey 2 years ago. You know what I'm saying? It's just it seems like the 1 is kind of cursed. But yeah, I agree with you, Dan. Those 3 are a great start. Any one of those 3, I think they're gonna, they could definitely lead your team.
And I think it's going to be quite varied from 4 through, I'm going to just ballpark at 9 for this, start. And then we're going to get training camp news. We're going to get before training camp news. That's going to just rotate guys in and out, where they go second round to first and first to second round. And yeah, like every year.
Yeah, last year we didn't want anything to do with 4 through 7 or 8 because we were just gobbling up Puka and St. Brown and those guys 9, 10, 11, 12 and just doing my quick rankings this year. I kind of feel like I'm going to be on the back end a lot if I can grab the Rashee Rices and McBrides and JTs at the end, I'm going to be all over the back half.
Sure, absolutely.
All right, so I'm going to bring up the primetime ADP here on my screen, and I'm going to scroll down a little further than the earlier rounds. We'll see if we can touch on some of the third, fourth, fifth, sixth round range guys. One name we haven't mentioned yet is George Pickens. Early in draft season last year, you could get him in around the 6-7 turn, and then he started to move up as August rolled around. He was going as early as the fourth round, I want to say.
Third, even he made it to the third.
Did he make it to the late third?
Yeah, in the earliest before he got traded to Dallas, Billy and I got him in 8th.
Yeah, when he was in Pittsburgh, nobody wanted him, and then
Right.
yeah, which is I'm a Steeler fan, so that's understandable. I wouldn't want him either.
Shout out Pete Nova. Just joined the chat. What's up? How's it going, Pete? Happy New Year. He says Josh and Dan said hello to you guys. We love Pete. Great guy. Great analyst. Working for Player Profiler these days. He pretty much took on the Theo Greminger role after Theo left. Shout out Pete. Good to appreciate you tuning in, man. Right. So yeah, George Pickens. Is it a guarantee? Do we see him back in Dallas next year? I mean, what do you?
Willie's a Dallas fan, so he can take that one.
I'm gonna just I'm not really, like I said, I'm most realistic Dallas fan you'll probably hear. It's Billy hears my rants too much, but anyway, I think he will be back for on the franchise tag, and they'll try to work out a long-term deal. That's my gut feeling. If he's back in Dallas and he's playing like he was the first part of the year where he's motivated, especially when CD was out, really trying to get incentives in his contract. I mean, guys, you all saw the stats. Like, he's gotten the worthy of a big contract. It's all just a mental game, because you can have a great start to the year, and then you have, for example, like the Detroit game, CD got hurt again. He just didn't look motivated. So I think he'll be back. I see him definitely in the second round. It's just going to be tough to locate like where exactly CD's going to be. I think CD's like a turn guy with this situation, and then Pickens is just a couple picks behind. So
does that mean that obviously means we're still in on Dak as a quarterback if Pickens
in
is
fantasy?
there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be
a
pretty similar situation. I don't see them. Do you see them becoming a top 5, top 10 defense again in 1 year? I don't think they can turn it around in 1 year like that.
No, that's a good one, Joe. That's gonna take about.
Come on, Trayvon Diggs is gone now, Willie.
That's a win. That's a joyous win. Thank God, get him out of it.
Micah Parsons ain't coming back, right?
Or DeMarcus Lawrence, 2 Pro Bowlers off your roster. So it's definitely going to be a fantasy target offense. So
if they sign Pickens, you think they'll sign Javonte as well, or let him walk?
I think they're going to let him walk if that happens.
I think so too.
And it sucks because he's also earned a contract.
Yeah,
maybe Brees Hall.
He was great this year.
Yeah. So speaking of running back free agents, there are. Who do we got? We got Travis Etienne as a free agent, Kenneth Walker as a free agent, Brees Hall, Rico Dowdle. I'm sure I'm missing names. I'm just thinking guys off the top of my head. Where do you guys have any thoughts on potential landing spots or
for those guys?
Yeah, like do you see Kenneth Walker staying with Seattle? Do you see them actually ending up on different teams?
So I think the Chiefs probably will, because they have, I don't know what their cap situation's like. It's probably not great, but if they maneuver around, they could maybe go make a push for Brees because they wanted to trade for him. I don't know why they didn't try. ETN, I think, should probably stay. You have a great offensive mind in Liam Cohen.
I think he probably stays too. I like that call.
Yeah, you got your college quarterback. Why not? I know Tootin's there. They'll probably split it up. And who was the other one? K9W?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Rico Dowdle too. Rico Dowdle.
Rico deserves a contract to stay in Carolina. I don't know about Kenneth Walker. So
And what
I've heard
about
I've heard he's to get to Kansas City. I've heard that rumor, but we also heard Breeze to Kansas City too. So, I don't know.
Right. And what about is Rico the Carolina? Is Jonathan Brooks? Is he ever going to be a thing? You think he makes a potential return next year, or
Yeah,
do you think that affects Rico Dowdle's situation?
Could if he's. I mean, I guess if he's looking good in the spring, early spring, or if he's. I've had not heard a word about him as far as him. If he's progressing.
Me either. But I just happened to think of him because we're talking about Carolina here.
Sure.
And we know Chuba's under contract. So
now, Joe, I'll tell you what. If Zach Charbonnet is the lone guy in Seattle, that's going to be a very juicy target, especially what we've seen him do alone and what he did in the fantasy playoffs. So.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a decent, pretty good Charbonnet fan. He was my push up this year. Like, I mean, he steamed up in August anyways, but even a little bit before August, I was already shoving him up into the 9th and in some drafts the 8th round before he ended up getting there. I mean, there were some drafts he was going in the 7th round. Come mid late August, but all season long they both kind of sabotaged each other as far as fantasy value goes. I feel like even recently with the shootout, I mean, aside from the one game where Charbonnet got to 26, I mean, they basically split in like 26, 27 points per game between the two of them. As far as consistent goes. So like you said, if Kenneth Walker's out of the picture, Zach Charbonnet obviously steps into the one role. I mean, I do think that they'll still add another running back, whether it's through the draft or free agency. I mean, I don't think that they just roll Charbonnet as a 3-down back. It's very rare that you see that anymore these days. Pretty much every running back room is got 2 running backs involved. I mean, with the exception of when you have a premium talent like Bijan and the chance that Algier disappears, it could be all Bijan. I mean, I don't see why. I mean, maybe they'll add a backup, but it's obviously going to be a backup just to spell him for a few carries per game. But it's very rare you get a situation where it's the same running back all 3 downs anymore. So. But I like the call. Charbonnet has that high contingent upside as of right now with that situation. But yeah, I just wanted to bring up some of those free agent running backs. Obviously, their ADP is going to depend on landing spots. Breece Hall goes to the Chiefs. I could see him being in the 2nd round. Second,
get him out
2-3 turn probably. I mean, he's only 24 years old. I definitely think he still has juice and can still play for sure. But he's, like you said, get him out of New York. He's in a terrible spot right now with the Jets. But Dan, moving on, I'm going to kick it over to you. Give us a player that maybe we haven't discussed yet, a little bit deeper down the rankings. Or whoever you want to toss out there, throw a name out there. Give us some ADP thoughts. How you feel about them going into 2026?
Yeah, I definitely have a name I wanted to ask. Billy and Willie about. Being Josh and I both always go heavy receivers. We obviously go into a draft with an open mind, but we end up taking a lot of 2-3 receivers, maybe even 4. But I was doing my rankings this week and comparing them to some of the guys that I really trust in the industry. And I was 20 spots higher on RJ Harvey than everybody else. So I kind of wanted to see what your guys' thoughts were. 4 of the last 5 games, I think he has 20 points. Joe, I talked all year about how I didn't think they were using him right. And now I feel like they finally learned how to use RJ Harvey. He's going to get his receptions. He's going to get 15 carries a game. If I go 3 receivers to start my draft, am I grabbing RJ Harvey? Is that too high? What do you guys think about that?
Where do you have him right now?
I actually have him at 27 on my board, which is probably higher than just about everybody else.
I have him at 25.
And Dan, I have him at 23. So.
Yeah, he's got him in the second round. So
maybe I'm not high enough on him.
But it comes down to what Willie was saying earlier. Sean Payton thinking he's the smartest man in the room, and he just wants to get. Is he going to get cute with him next year too, or can we trust that this RJ Harvey's what we've got going forward?
I think the thing with Harvey is I think the value's in the receptions. Obviously, I don't think he's going to be a. I think doesn't he have 12? He has 12 touchdowns. I think I looked. He has 7 rushing, 5 receiving. So again, look, we don't care how they come. You know, I mean, if he gets 8 and 8, I think we'd all be happy with 16 touchdowns in a full year with him. I just don't think he's going to be that bell cow that's going to get you. I mean, shoot, he might not even get to 1,000 yards in the season, but if he's getting you 600 receiving, he'll be all right.
Yeah, and people are going to probably push this narrative, not as much because he's going to be a second-year player, but everyone pushed it on James Cook. Like he's got 12 touchdowns this year. Harvey does. And people are like, oh, he's not going to score that many. I don't care. I'm still going to take the chance on RJ Harvey. Just like I should have done it. I only have 1 share of James Cook, for example.
But that's a whole different situation, too, because, you know, for the first, I don't even remember when Dobbins was like week 7 or 8, he got hurt. Like Harvey was nothing. There's no way you could even play him. Like now, I mean, he did all his damage in basically a half a year, which is pretty impressive.
Well, he started with the Dallas game and just kept going.
He did.
I told Josh this morning, I feel like Harvey's going to be that guy that's like mid-third, that by Vegas we're taking him at like 15, 16, like Chase Brown. Like he just shoots with the board.
Yes, that's a good comparison. I could see that, yeah. And so the people you've looked at in the industry have him at like 45-ish, like
I won't say any names, but the couple of people I subscribe to, one had him at 47, one had him at like 38, and I jumped him way up because I thought it was obvious. I
got to see the names. I'd like to see the names ahead of him in that, but
yeah,
I'll send it to you. There was a couple names I was like, what?
Okay, well, that's good. That's good. We like when people think like that. That's good.
Yeah. You know, just let me know what draft they're going to do.
You know these guys.
Fair enough.
What was I gonna say? Oh, is J.K. Dobbins under contract next year for them? He is a free agent. Okay. So
we'll still implement Harvey with somebody like Dobbins, I would think.
So I would put RJ. So I would monitor the running back room in Denver. Depending on what they do there for replacing Dobbins, or if they end up bringing him back or whatever. I think that's something that could affect RJ Harvey's ADP. Maybe if they go out and get like I don't know who's I don't want to say Dowdle because him and Dowdle are kind of similar style.
What if they got like Algier?
Yeah, there you go. That's a good one. If they get somebody between the tackle runner. Now how does that affect? I mean, I don't think it's going to nuke his role to the point where it was at the beginning of the year this year. But I think, we could potentially, you could see maybe a dip in where we're talking with them right now being at the 2-3 turn, basically. Right. I think he could dip a little further depending on who they add there at running back. But it's like Billy said, I don't think he's a workhorse running back either. I think he'll be sharing touches with somebody.
Well, and Peyton loves Jaleel McLaughlin. He loves him.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think it matters again who it is, but if it is more of a bell cow Algier type, yeah, I think it would be a problem for sure. But I still think he's proven what he can do definitely in the passing game for sure.
In the red zone specifically, I think the touchdowns are not a fluke.
Right.
Cortland Sutton was their main red zone target over the past 2 years. And, they added Pat Bryant. Obviously, we could expect him to maybe get more involved in the red zone. Marvin Mims has proved to still be just kind of that.
A stinker, yes.
That big play, not really getting a lot of snaps consistently. Not snaps, the targets and volume consistently week in, week out. He's more of a gadget, real wide receiver at this point. That's kind of how I've labeled him. boom or bust, if you want to say that as well. So I do think that he will be, a consistent red zone weapon, and I think he has that going for him, especially in the passing game. Those little dump offs. Bo Nix extends the play a little bit when the wide receivers are covered, and IJ Harvey, always makes himself available underneath. So, yeah, I like him. I don't know if I have him as high as you guys. I don't know if I'll be picking him there. If he's at the 2-3 turn, I guess it all depends on the draft itself. But yeah, I'm in on saying that he's carved out a big enough role that it does warrant where you guys are talking. He did a lot of his damage in 5 or 6 weeks, like you guys said. I know Dobbins isn't there, but it's still noteworthy.
Well, and another thing is that it might not be the most prolific, but it's a sustainable offense. A lot of times I think, guys in this chat and guys in the fantasy community want to gravitate towards what's going to be a good offense. So,
also a good point. All right, Josh, your turn, man. Pick a player. We can analyze it. You want to talk about?
I'll bring up. Let's talk about Ashton Genty. I haven't heard anybody mention his name yet. He was a guy that was going at the end of the first round, very beginning of the second round. Where do you guys see him? Where do you see him going next year? I know quarterback may affect some of that offense. I don't know what they bring in as far as offensive.
Can't get worse.
You had the 1-2 combo of Gino and Kenny.
Yeah,
that were both terrible.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think in little spurts there's been a little bit there, but I don't know. I just don't know if it's just the offense as a whole is so bad, or if he's just not going to translate to.
Well, Josh, I mean, my God, I totally agreed with you. Pretty much upwards to the Texans game, they were just very nonchalant with him. It was very robust. And I'll actually shout out the Bears game. That was a good Genty game too, earlier in the year. But the way that they used him on wheel routes against the Texans, the way he kind of burst through holes against a really good defense, it's like you have a proven commodity here that you can build around. You don't have to just go to Bowers all the time, because I felt like Pete Carroll just got very predictable, just streamline Bowers when he was in and just not trying to get Genty involved. So I'm willing to take the risk. Genty for me he's in front of Harvey. He's kind of like 18 to 20. I think he landed on 20 for him. I think I would gladly draft Genty again.
Yeah, I think he's like Willie said, I don't know why they weren't using him more in the passing game on the wheel routes like that and getting him in space doing stuff. The line is terrible too. They need a lot. Obviously, they need a quarterback. They need an offensive line. But I think he's talented for sure. I mean, when Will Anderson comes out and says he's a dog, those are pretty high. That's high praise. I mean, I think I have a 21 is where I have him. So, and to be honest with you, I would take him over Harvey at right now 100 times out of 100. I just would, because I think he's got the gig to himself for sure. But yeah, the team is definitely a concern. I agree with you 100% on that.
They need a new head coach too.
Yeah, they can use
that was my question. Does Pete Carroll keep his job? Because that's going to be a big decision for Genty for me.
True.
Dan, I think it's going to be like a situation where Tom Brady will be even in the room, be like, "Hey, you've had a great life, buddy." Kind of like pat on the shoulder, just like, "Hey, you've had your time. How about we just mutually just agree to part ways here? Like you say, I'm gonna retire."
I think Pete Carroll's on cocaine or something. Have you guys ever seen him? Have you ever seen him during practices? He's running around, throwing, coming out of the pocket, throwing passes like a 20-year-old would do. I mean, he's moving a lot slower, of course, but I'm good for him, man. What is he, 76 or something?
Have you seen the meme where he's chomping the gum. He just chomps that gum like it's his job.
I'm telling you, he's like all jacked up on
I've
something.
I've gone
Well,
when I was a teenager. I went to I think I want to say I was like 13 or 14 years old. We went to a training camp, and he does when he was the head coach of the Patriots, and he does get involved in the practice. Like he'll like hit the guys without pads on and stuff, and
But
like,
he's still doing that, Joe. Like you were 13. He's still. I mean, good for him, man. That's awesome. He's 70-some years old. But like, I mean, obviously you got enough money. I mean, and obviously he loves and enjoys what he does. But which is great. But I don't know if I don't know if his ways are still going to work in the NFL. I guess.
I want to just add one thing about Genty. I do think that he has the potential to have a huge year with receptions. I think he can go over 60, maybe even into the 70 range with receptions based on game script alone. That's a tough division. You got Denver, Kansas City, and why am I drawing a blank? It's the other team.
Chargers.
And the Chargers, all very good offenses. The Chargers are going to be a good offense next year with a healthy offensive line. They're going to have a bounce back year offensively, I believe. Omari Hampton, year 2. Joey mentioned the lad dip. I think he's a better NFL wide receiver than he is a fantasy football wide receiver, but nonetheless, these are going to be games where the Raiders are going to be playing catch up, and I think that Genty could hit pretty high receiving numbers next year. So,
is this a safe space? Can I just vent this to y'all about this team? I am just done because I thought it was done. I thought it was all gone. This take. Can we just stop with the Justin Herbert needs help take? Because that's resurfaced again, and it's so fucking stupid. I'm sorry. If he had this, he's this, and I'm like, what we're gonna play hypothetical for everybody? Like, for love of God, stop. He's got talent around him.
He does. He flashes, and he looks like an elite quarterback. He just hasn't all like come together at one big. Like all at once. That season still has yet to happen. So.
Well, he's in an offense. He's in a system that's not designed to throw the ball a ton. They like to run the ball, especially when they get those linemen back. They're going to run. So he's not in and we were talking about this earlier. Having a bad defense is one of the great things about drafting people on that offense. Like the Bengals are a perfect example. They're a great example. When you have a bad defense, you have great offensive players that leads to points. And the Chargers defense, it's pretty good. It's overall decent, but it's not, certainly not the Bengals. I'll say that.
No.
Why does that hurt a little more coming from a Steelers fan than it normally does in the fantasy world when we talk about how bad the Bengals defense is?
You can come back and we can say our defense isn't great, but our offense is so bad. I can't even stand watching it. It sucks.
He's going to fix everything.
Not to skip on to something else, but one thing I was going to bring up, and Joe mentioned his third-year wide receiver thing. What about Roman Wilson? Is he going to, Tom, when I heard him talk pretty encouragingly about Wilson before last week's game with DK being out and over being a knucklehead, and Tomlin talked about Wilson, about how hard he's worked and how he's deserving of an opportunity and this and that. But, is he somebody that's going to get a chance in that offense next year?
I mean, the one thing, and I liked him at Michigan, but he's small. I mean, and you have Arthur Smith running the show, and if you know anything about Arthur Smith, he loves his tight ends, and he'll put when he has Darnell Washington broke his forearm now, but he had Darnell Washington out there. Freiermuth, I just think is like criminally unutilized. I don't get why they don't use him.
I agree.
I think he's great. He just and I know Joe's guy, Jonnu Smith. His buddy.
I knew that was going to come up at some point today.
Jonnu's he's a gadget guy, sort of more so, but I mean Pittsburgh they don't have a number 2. It's very clear. I mean and you saw in that game without Metcalf and Calvin Austin, and it was the Browns, and I'm like, and I knew this. Yeah, I said to Willie when they're going to lose this game. This is the way Pittsburgh plays. They lose the teams they shouldn't. They beat teams they shouldn't. It's just that's the way it goes. So, but I'd like to see Roman Wilson more personally, but I don't know. I just think he's kind of a smaller target. I mean, they do have DK. I'd love to see them get another big receiver or somebody else decent that they can utilize, but we'll see.
Oh, you can have a guy named Pickens back if you want. You're just going to pay a little bit more for him.
Yeah, Pickens and Metcalf in the same locker room. That'd be real good. That would work real well.
What about DJ Moore? He's got the type of luck, coach and landing spot luck that he and there with.
I would take DJ Moore, but I mean, he and Roman Wilson are about the same size.
I will, Josh. One thing I did, and this was like just before the season, I think Aaron Rodgers made a comment about Roman Wilson, and I don't know if that transitioned back to Arthur Smith and Tomlin. That he needs to, I don't know what the direct quote was, but it's something along the lines that he just needs to grow and needs to learn the system better.
Yeah, I remember
the trust.
I remember something about that now.
Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers is big on that. That's why we didn't see any Caleb Johnson.
Oh yeah, if you screw up with Aaron Rodgers, it takes a while to get back out of the doghouse.
Yeah, no doubt. So I think that's my only take on Roman Wilson.
Nice. So we right before we jumped onto Roman Wilson, we were talking about the Chargers and Justin Herbert.
No.
And it got me to thinking, Oronde Gadsden. Where do you guys stand on Oronde Gadsden? I see him as a little bit inconsistent. He's flashes. He seems a bit undersized to make like contested catches in traffic. I'm just going by the eye test in a few games I've watched him. I drafted him in some spots this year as like a late round flyer. Ended up working out on some of my teams, especially I had one team where Tucker Kraft went down and I had Gadsden kind of saved me a little bit. Like I said, he was inconsistent. There were some games that he would disappear from the offense based on either game script or matchup. There were times where Quentin Johnston just dominated, and it kind of nullified what Gadsden was the production that he had. But then there were other defenses where Gadsden was the primary target, and he ended up with 7-8 catches and a spike week. So the one thing that I notice about the Chargers offense is there is a kind of a lot of mouths to feed. And you brought it up, Billy. They're going to want to run the ball. If they can run the ball with success, then they are going to run the ball. They did end up being pass heavy this year. I think, I think just kind of the way the season unfolded kind of led to that. The offensive line fell apart. The running game kind of went away with Hampton getting hurt and stuff like that. But I think once all the pieces are there, the running game's healthy, there's a rhythm to the offense. I feel like there could be too many mouths to feed here. We got Quentin Johnston, you got Ladd McConkey. If Ladd is to have a bounce back year, that's going to dip into tight end consistency here. So that's my concern with Gadsden. I don't know what you guys have thoughts. If you think he's going to take a step forward, do you think he can finish as a top 10 tight end in 2026? Go ahead, Dan. You're nodding. Yeah, I'll start with you, Dan. We'll go down and around that way. You start us off.
See the Syracuse in the background. My wife will kill me if I don't talk about Gadsden. She's from Syracuse. We're all old enough, I think, in this room to remember his dad.
Yeah,
but he made some of the most athletic catches we've ever seen, some great touchdowns. I love what I see in Oronde. He did fizzle at the end of this year, but Josh always points out to me, ever since his injury like 4 or 5 weeks ago, I don't think he's been the same. So my philosophy in high stakes, I usually punt tight end. You guys talk about Trey McBride. If he's there in the second, I'll take him. If not, I'm going to be waiting until 9, 10, 11, 12. Gadsden's going to be my target. He's going to have some spike weeks. He's going to probably have some 2 for 25 weeks. I'll ask you guys. I don't think Keenan Allen's back this year. Maybe I'm wrong on that. If Keenan's not there, I'll take Gadsden as my 9th or 10th all day as my tight end.
They were involving Trey Harris a lot more it seemed like it anyway. He was getting a lot more few more, not a lot of catches, but more than Keenan. He was eating into Keenan's time. That's what I noticed. So if you have him and you got McConkey and Gadsden, so yeah, I don't know. I'd have to I would have to think about if he's top 10. He's probably right on that cusp. Like I understand what you're saying, Dan, 100%. With you're late in the draft. Like if you're going to take him or trying to think of a name. For some reason, I'm thinking Zach Ertz. That's a bad example.
Ferguson. Oh, look at that.
Ferguson. Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for upside, the upside is
Smart minds.
Gadsden. So, yeah.
I think Gadsden's a fringe, maybe top 12 to 15 right now at this point. I think he's kind of a prospect waiting in the wings. I already mentioned him on the show, but sign me up for Loveland. I'll still take Tyler Ward. I think there's no issue with that. I love the talent. I picked him up kind of cheap on free agent wires, thinking he would be a nice fill-in. Disappointing that he got hurt and fizzled out, like you guys said. I think top 12 to 15 is realistic, and there's potential he can boom up more. So,
but Gadsden or like Hawkinson?
Gadsden.
I think Gadsden.
Yeah,
probably.
Probably.
That's how far Hawkinson's fallen.
I feel about Hawkinson the way that Willie feels about the Chargers.
Whoa.
We all have our guys we hate for sure.
I've never liked Hawkinson. I think he has durability issues, and there's a lot of reasons. There's just tons of reasons why I was never drafting TJ Hawkinson.
Oh, I got a perfect name.
I know exactly what you're going to say. I know it.
It's a gadgety type of player. It's a system where they rotate so many guys in. Bill's going to kill me when he sees me in person next. What are y'all's thoughts on Mr. Jaden Reed?
I hate Jaden Reed. I just can't. I can't buy into him just because of the injuries and stuff. And Willie likes him, and we always go. He's probably my most hated player. So,
so the fact that he is only on the field like 60 to 65% of the snap share, and he comes off on two wide receiver sets, concerns me a little bit. That alone, it obviously is going to provide some inconsistency. I think the way you draft him is going to be key. I think you're not drafting him to plug him in your lineup week in and week out. I think you target him as a flex.
Like a 15th rounder or something like that.
As a wide receiver 4, even a 5. If you can get him as a wide receiver 5, then I like him.
Perfect. 9th round.
You're playing him. You're not, like I said, I don't think you're plugging him in the lineup every week.
No, I definitely get you, Joe. I always I just bust Billy's balls about this.
Yeah, no, he's one of those. He's a best ball guy. He's one of those guys that are hard to read when to start. You got to really be doing your research. You got to know when he does good against zone defense. I noticed, and that's usually when his spike weeks come. So you got to really pick you got to be a starting lineup guru. If you plan on drafting Jaden Reed.
I got the perfect guru if anyone wants to go to him. His name's Frank Mamola. He'll pitch him up and he'll tell you the most honest take about him.
Yes, Frank is a real good player, man.
Yeah. So I got this name, and I'm trying to look ahead of what they're going to do in the offseason. Some people, if one certain person retires. And he was so great early on, and then he just completely fell off the map. What about Ibuka? What do you do with him next year? Like, if let's say Mike Evans is gone, let's say he's done. I mean, let's be fair. Mike Evans was out how many weeks, and Ibuka did nothing for so many of them. He was just, early on, my God, it was so wonderful having him, and I had so much of him, and then he just completely just dropped off the face of the earth. It was terrible.
So I'm more optimistic about Ibuka in 2026. I think a lot of his inconsistencies came because something was not right about Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know if it's obviously, I think it's some sort of an injury. He got banged. He got hit a lot. He gets hit a lot anyways, but I feel like he got a lot of pressure, a lot of QB hits this year. I just think the quarter, like he underperformed in the second half of the year as a quarterback and as an offense, the offense as a whole. When I'll be the first to admit I underestimated Bucky Irvin. I don't want to say underestimated him because I totally faded him because of his ADP, not so much because of him, but he did more. He was more important to that team than I thought. Is what I'm getting at, and I just think that when he missed time and defenses were able to focus on the passing game and putting pressure on Baker more, I think it led to subpar results for the entire offense in general. And so that's why I'm a little bit more optimistic next year for Ibuka. He also, got an injury himself. So he, when I'm always observant about how rookies perform when they get injured. And I feel like his injury affected his performance as well. So it's kind of hard to say. I do think that he gets closer to the production he was giving us earlier in the year. I don't want to say he goes off like that every single week. I mean, we still got to see it, and we got to see if Mike Evans is back or not. Then you still got Chris Godwin in the mix.
Go ahead and say his name. Jalen McMillan.
Yeah, you guys know I like Jalen McMillan.
Next year's his third year.
Well, the third year leap is a lot of it. When I mentioned that, it's more so for the high draft capital guys. That they have a higher percentage of taking that third year leap. Not saying that Jalen McMillan isn't worthy of a third year leap.
If he didn't get hurt this year and miss the first 10 or 11 games, what kind of season would he have had? Because it seems like he's come back and just jumped right in. I didn't expect him to get as many targets, jumping right back in with Ibuka and Godwin and Evans.
I agree with that.
He's looking like somebody that's going to maybe they do let Evans just walk away and don't try to bring him back at all to another contract because of what they've got with those other three wide receivers.
No, that's a very good point, Josh. And
I'll agree with that. Yeah,
I'm a big fan of McMillan, especially picking him up last year a lot and utilize him in a couple. I know Billy and I had a team that was in the contest that had a Baker McMillan stack and got 2 touchdowns. He's very useful. But I'm going to bring up this point. This is the third year in a row that this offense has gone over an offensive coordinator. And they hit gold the first 2 with Canales and Cohen.
Yeah.
And I don't know who it is. I don't know. Y'all can drop the name. But, I mean, maybe the flow of the offense for Baker's not as sustainable. I bring that up because everyone's talking about his performance. I mean, he's in the top 3 of uncatchable air yards right now. So, injury or not, something's not clicking with Baker. Now, also, though, Igbuka's had a couple of nullified moments, like the Saints game. He had a touchdown clear as day. Mm-hmm. He dropped it. It was ridiculous. Like, Billy and I would have won a points title if he just caught that touchdown. It's like
us too.
So it's Josh Grizzer.
PTSD on that Igbuka drop touchdown for me and Dan too.
Yeah, that was terrible.
I think they bring Evans back though, just for what it's worth. I think they give him one more year.
I mean, he's been a staple for them for how many years has he been in the league? 8 or 9.
9.
Yeah,
he's on their Mount Rushmore.
Oh yeah, he's been fantastic for them.
I just think that the whole team, the whole offense got disrupted this year by adversity and variables. I mean, so
that's true.
much like the Washington Commanders situation, and I brought this up on our show Monday night. Josh and Dan, you guys know, I like the last couple of weeks. I thought Ja'Cory Crosby Merritt really showed that he has some juice to him. I kind of want to see what he could do with a fully healthy Jaden Daniels, a fully healthy Terry McLaurin, that offense the way it was 2 years ago in 2024, with I as him as the running back one in that situation. Can we see him being that mid range running back? That gives us that returns us huge value, almost like a Javonte Williams type of return on value next season.
Now, Joe, I have a question for you with that, because I've seen a couple mock drafts for Washington target Bryce Love out of Notre Dame. It's kind of like the
Jeremiah Love.
Jeremiah Love. Yeah.
They did draft Bryce Love though too.
Well, obviously, if he gets nuked, he gets nuked.
Jeremiah Love.
But
I think Jaden Daniels. I don't know. This is just a gut feeling on him. I look at his frame and I'm like, they need to put some weight on this guy, because the way he runs, and I mean, he reminds, like, Lamar was kind of built that way when he first came out, but Lamar's thickened up a little bit, and Lamar just, I don't know, he's always had a knack for just not getting hit. Like, there's times he just bowls people into people. I'm like, oh, how's he? But Jaden Daniels just seems like is he going to be the next RG3 is what I'm worried about. So
it's three different.
He's got to add some meat. I've been thinking about that too.
Yeah. Kind of stayed away from him this year for the most part.
Yeah, so did I. Yeah. I thought his cost in general. I'm not an elite quarterback drafter. Really, they really have to fall for me. Like a couple seasons ago, I did take Josh Allen in the prime time, but it was like mid fourth round.
Welcome to 2026, Joe. This will be your year to wait on quarterbacks are going to fall like crazy this year.
Yeah, I mean, I usually wait on quarterback anyway. I should have. I went a little early this year. I was taking too many shots on Bo Nix. I wish I didn't do that, because my late round targets were Drake May and Caleb Williams, and both of those guys tore they tore up their where they were going in drafts. They way outperformed their ADP for sure. A lot of the teams at the top of the leaderboards in the overall contests, contained the Drake May or Caleb Williams. I noticed that when I was going through through some of the rosters and the builds. But yeah, wait on quarterback. So that's why I didn't have any Jaden Daniels. If I do take an elite quarterback, it's usually the elite quarterback that's going last. like 2 years ago, Lamar was the last of the bunch to go. This year, I had Jalen Hurts in a couple of spots. He was really the only one that I was targeting, though, as far as an elite quarterback goes. But I don't know if you guys' thoughts on that, but it's definitely gotten deep for sure. I mean, Trevor Lawrence gave us a top 5 season. I mean, we haven't even cracked the surface on the Jaguars offense. You guys want to discuss the Jaguars offense real quick?
Sure.
So obviously, we don't know the status of ETN, but I think he's done enough that they are going to try to work out a deal with him. But we got Parker Washington. He kind of came on strong in the second half of the year. He surprised. He gave us some flex weeks. Brian Thomas, such a disappointment. Probably the first round bust for sure this year. What do we make of him? Is it like him and Trevor Lawrence their chemistry is a real problem, if you ask me. I feel like Brian Thomas kind of lost. They kind of lost trust in each other. I feel.
I don't know if they ever had it.
Joe,
This is true. Yeah, this is true. That's a good point. I mean,
Well,
a lot of his his performance last year was under Mac Jones. But go ahead, Billy. Willie.
I just gonna make the point you just said about Mac. And
Yeah.
no, it's totally. I mean, totally good point. And I mean, now you kind of almost have the same like arsenal of receivers. Like Parker Washington, super efficient. You can line them up pretty much wherever you want. I mean, Brian Thomas is going to be an X guy. Jacoby Myers, they just gave him 3 years.
Is there. Yeah.
Like, and Brenton Strange didn't go anywhere. So,
and Travis Hunter still rostered.
Now that's going to be an interesting decision which way they're going to lead him.
Right.
Because I think this experiment he's going to play both ways is going to die down a lot.
I think the Jacoby Myers edition has a lot. Tells us a lot there too. I think maybe they want him to play on the defensive side. But I mean, I've always been Travis Hunter as a wide receiver stance guy. Like that was been my argument. But you got an offensive minded head coach straight up to take the arguably the most athletic, talented player in the draft. So. Wide receiver is where you make your money. I mean, obviously, cornerbacks get paid well too, but I just think that I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. I don't know. He just seems like he'd be have more of an impact on the game at wide receiver, but they're loaded at that position. So I mean, I honestly, outside of Trevor Lawrence, and without knowing if ETN's going to return or not, I don't know what to make about the offense. I don't know if I should be trusting Jacoby Myers, if I should be considering Brenton Strange as a possible punt the position tight end target Brenton Strange later. I'm still undecided on this offense, so that's why I brought it up. I wanted to hear your guys' thoughts more so than mine.
Do they get rid of Brian Thomas in the offseason? Like, is it possible they might trade him pick for picks, something? I mean, their defense is pretty damn good. Like, it's a good to be truthful, they're my dark horse to win or get to the Super Bowl. I don't know if they can win it, but I think they can get there. Because the AFC is it's just wide open, in my opinion. So, but they already went into Denver. I mean, they went into Denver and won, so we know we can do that.
As this is one of my biggest L's because Billy's heard me way too much talk about it. About Trevor Lawrence being a loser, about that system not working correctly. And I've had to eat my words. Like, he's played very admirably, so I can't say shit. To answer your question going forward, Joe, I do think you can put confidence, maybe Trevor Lawrence for sure. I think you're going to get production out of Jacoby Myers, given that contract. And I think it's a system where you can just kind of pick apart. We talked about Chicago guys you want to get. Why not Jacksonville guys? They play in the AFC South. I mean, Houston's the only real big competition defensive-wise. You're not going to see too much pushback from Tennessee. I know Jeffrey Simmons does a really good job against the run, but my God, you could throw on them. And then Indy, who knows what that's going to look like. So.
Nice. Josh, Dan, you guys have thoughts on Jacksonville offense?
I love Jacoby going in the next year. If you don't believe in BTJ, I love Jacoby. One name I'll throw out there, Josh is sick of hearing me talk about him. If ETN doesn't sign, I will have 100% LaQuinn Allen. I love LaQuinn Allen as the second back there. Really good third down back, really good receiving back, blocks well, also from Syracuse.
And pretty much free in drafts, right?
Yeah. And they love the coaching staff loves him if you watch some of the games lately.
Are we going to get a Marvin Harrison take on this?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
There we go.
Marvin Harrison Senior. He went to Syracuse. That's what
he did.
I don't want to talk about Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm over that shit.
I'll take Senior before I take Junior next year.
Yeah, I would take Senior right now over Junior.
100%.
The junior's getting Michael Wilson's water bottle and all his locker straight.
I'll tell you, there's the name that I was having trouble ranking is Michael Wilson.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know where to put him next year.
I loved him. I've always liked him, and they've never utilized him. And now we saw when Harrison was out, they started, and I think it was Jacoby, because I think if Kyler was in there, it would have been a mess. Yeah, that's a good one. I think people are gonna. He's a guy you could get probably 7th round, maybe still. Like maybe I don't know.
Do you think Jacoby's back as a quarterback? I really don't know.
I pray, please.
I don't think
it's not Kyler.
No, it's not Kyler. But I think though, I think they have an early draft pick. I think they're gonna get a quarterback early, and probably try to force feed him in, where Jacoby's the safety net if he doesn't work. That's what I would predict.
Don't bring Kyler back.
Don't bring Kyler back. No, if you
we'll play baseball, man. Go play baseball.
Go trade for Mac Jones before you bring Kyler.
Go to Call of Duty's headquarters. Be the main sponsor there, and that's your life. You're just sponsored by Call of Duty, Kyler. That's a great life. No taxing on your body, buddy. Hey, you still get paid a shit ton of money just to play video games.
Take care of your 2 dogs and whatever else.
He probably sucks at that too.
He probably.
Nice.
Oh, that's funny.
All right, let's see. All right, so Steve, I'm not sure if Steve is gonna make it on with us. So he just shot me a text message. Joey Brown says, "Awesome show." I like Joey's comment here. He's manifesting a trade over here. He wants to see Wandale go to the Jags, and if it'd be a great landing spot if they move Brian Thomas Jr. Move the Giants make a move for BTJ, put him alongside Malik Nabers.
Wandale's
that's a good offense to talk about next year. The Giants. I mean, if everybody comes back healthy, I mean, you just think of the 3. You think of a quarterback, running back, receiver. I mean, that's a nice little trio though. Dart, Scadaboo, and Neighbors. But are they going to be healthy? Is the question. I mean, healthy, so they can play at their ability. The problem is too, Scadaboo. Does anybody believe he can stay up? Him or Dart for that matter. Dart, he is he's just reckless out there, and he's not huge either. It's dude, you got to learn to slide, man.
I think eventually he'll fix that. He's going to realize that it's better to be on the field than in the tent. Eventually, I mean, he says that
he is.
He does go out in those press conferences and say that he's not going to change his game and stuff like that. He's gonna run what he can and take his spots, but. One thing that the Giants do have going for them is that they're probably still a bottom barrel team. So garbage points, playing from behind, game script is probably going to favor them. Malik Nabers, we know his target share. Wandale Robinson also to get back-to-back seasons with over 140 targets, 130, 140 targets. It's pretty condensed. We know what they do. They use Scadaboo around the goal line. They mix in Tyrone Tracy some. With Scadaboo out, Singletary obviously got some run. I think Singletary handles some of the more physical defenses better than Tracy does. That was kind of how I had both of those running backs on a lot of teams this year, and when I did decide to play one of them, it always was if they were going against a physical defense that gets pressure on the quarterback, I always lean Singletary. And when they had a better matchup where they had a chance to actually win the game, and they were going against a softer defense, I thought Tracy was the better play. Obviously that's moot with a healthy Scadaboo. Theo Johnson, I consider him a tight end dependent. I mean, a touchdown dependent tight end. So I'm not really. I wouldn't really rely on him as a weekly starter. A tight end that I can play week in and week out. But I do think that the garbage point matchups will present themselves. So this is an interesting offense to target.
Now, Joe, I'm gonna bring up maybe just 2 points. I'm gonna bring up 2 points. The one, they don't have a head coach yet,
Right.
so that's gonna probably weigh a lot of how people feel about this team. And number two, I would love to see a BTJ, the LSU boys back together, him and Neighbors, but is that going to be realistic? Trying to get somebody. I'm going to bring up a point that Chris Vaccaro brought up a couple weeks ago. Why not target like a Juwan Jennings and you have a trio of Neighbors, Wandell, and Jennings? It's not bad. It's better than Darius Slayton.
Even I've mentioned before DJ Moore. I thought DJ Moore would pair well with Malik Neighbors as well.
Yeah.
But yeah,
they have
that's
a lot of
definitely
money too, if I remember correctly. They have a lot of cap space, so
and they got
an early pick.
Their early pick, and they don't necessarily need a quarterback. So
they should get a lineman.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting offseason. Definitely a team to be paying attention to as far as moves they make going forward in the offseason.
I mean, their front seven's great too, and the defensive end, their secondary.
Yes, I agree with that. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, we keep talking about DJ Moore and Brian Thomas Jr., but we haven't mentioned Ayuk getting moved. I mean, he's not going to be in San Francisco next year.
Okay.
They're going to get rid of him some way, somehow. I don't know how, but somebody's going to take him, I would think. So I don't know where he could land at, but that's could be a big name that gets traded.
Yeah.
When you speed by your team's stadium, basically flicking it off, it's all just signals that okay, you're not coming back.
Yeah, that whole sequence was funny though. He wanted out of there. Nobody wanted him or whatever. Wanted to give him the money, and then San Francisco ponied up, gave him money. Then he gets hurt, and then there's all of this extracurricular stuff to end the season, and I don't know.
I mean, they nullified his guaranteed money, which is insane. It's
not
really? Insane. Yeah. Which is not insane because he's obviously not showing up. This is what Kyle Shanahan said, and John Lynch has also said, and basically just saying he's just not been a reliable team member. So
nice.
I got New York Jet to me. Like he's going to go somewhere and just be irrelevant.
I got a question in a text message from Michael Gamberg. He said he forgot to mention Justin Jefferson. He wants your guys' thoughts on Justin Jefferson.
Dan, where do you have him in your rankings? I
love Justin Jefferson. I love him. I have him all the way down at 19 right now. That's probably too low, but man, I love him, but I can't do it with McCarthy.
I got him.
Where do you have him at, Billy?
I got him at. I have him at 16, and I think just because of the name, and I think it can't be worse. But it was bad.
I have him at 14 right now.
Yeah.
You guys have him above or below Nico and Neighbors?
Below.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's below. I mean, Nico's CJ Stroud's average at best, but my God, he's much better than JJ.
Yeah. Me too.
My note I have beside Justin Jefferson says that KOC is going to figure out a way to get the ball to him next year.
Don't you think that would be a good plan?
Yeah, for Burrow, he will.
Like they will figure it out, and I think that's why we all have high confidence there in Bill's second round.
I hope so.
He could be a good vet. He could be
the best value ever for Justin Jefferson.
Imagine just pairing him. Just imagine pairing him, guys. Like he falls back earlier drafts, and you get the original LSU boys, and him and Chase. Oh God!
I mean, Joe, you said earlier that Brian Thomas was the biggest first round bust. I mean, I think JJ was for sure, just because I think it was like after a while, Brian Thomas, you just didn't expect anything. Every week, you still expected JJ. You're like, okay, well, this is true.
There was a time where I stopped starting Brian Thomas, but Justin Jefferson, no, probably
You just have
not.
to keep plugging them in there. I mean, because you're just waiting and still waiting. So it sucks.
All right, so there you go, Mike. There's your thoughts on Justin Jefferson. That obviously, if we're down on Justin Jefferson, then we're way down on Jordan Addison. I mean, and the guy's got so much like talent and touchdown potential too. He was starting to point in the right direction. We all had big aspirations for JJ McCarthy coming into this year. I know a few shot players that were targeting him in the late round as a late round quarterback, and then it just didn't pan out. I mean, Addison's kind of he was hard to know when to start, I suppose, this year, and then he was basically non-existent down the stretch, with the exception of that one carry he had last week for 65-yard rush or something like that. He didn't have any catches though. That was literally his only touch in the game. So
the only thing is they don't seem to struggle getting the ball to Naylor.
Yeah.
Josh Oliver.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So yeah.
Naylor, he'll throw like a 40-yard like dime right to him, and then JJ's like on it was the Cowboys game when he was running that slant across and he overthrew him by like 10 yards. Like, if he hits him, it's probably a touchdown. I mean, that's just.
They've also got a tight end. I don't know if you guys ever heard of him. His name's TJ Hawkinson. He plays in the NFL. You guys ever heard of him? Fuck that guy.
No.
Oh, sorry. We had way too much Hawkinson this year.
Yeah.
It's, what's funny about that, Dan? You just said that, like, and every year I see this and I ignore it. See, I had a lot of Laporta. And Laporta, actually, if you look at his stats and you extrapolate them out, they weren't horrible.
He was having a decent bounce back year.
He was.
Yeah.
But it's like everybody always says, avoid tight ends like 5 through 10 because they never produce. And it's true. Although Kelsey was actually semi-productive. He was boring, but he was semi-productive.
Yeah, he didn't have.
Josh, correct me if I'm wrong. Like Hawkinson fell like 3 or 4 rounds in Vegas. We weren't even trying to get him, and he was just there. So we took him as I think around 9 or 10.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, that's late. We would have taken him. I know that.
We had no interest in him at all, and then we're like, well, we got to get a couple shares of him if this is where he's going.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Don't you hate that when you really don't even like a player and then they just keep falling and falling, and you're almost like, well, I got to take him here. No, you really don't, but it's hard not to.
Yeah, trust your gut. We should have passed on him.
So here's a player we talked about earlier in the show, as far as the curse of 370 goes and how he underperformed this year. Do we see positive regression for Saquon Barkley in 2026? What are your thoughts on that?
Who's the offensive coordinator?
Yeah, that's a big factor.
Yeah.
If they get somebody good in there that's a good offensive coordinator, I like his chances. If they keep Petullo, no. I don't know. That offense is so – they're just – and the sad part is I don't even think you can count them out for the Super Bowl. Like, I really think – because I think the defense is good enough.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts does his thing. I mean, they showed, for God's sakes, they won a freaking game last week, not even completing a pass in the second half of the game. Like, that's just who they are. So,
well, the two little princesses in Petula and Sirianni looked like they just won another Super Bowl by doing that.
Well, they were pretty happy about that win.
Josh, Dan, you guys have any thoughts on Barkley?
I don't know. I feel the way they do about the offensive coordinator. I'm just kind of sick of the Philly offense this year. I'm not a Jalen Hurts guy. They had the game last year where AJ Brown was wanting the ball. The press was making a big deal about him not passing, and they came out and they threw the ball, and AJ Brown had a touchdown or two. Devonta Smith had a touchdown, and Jalen Hurts walks in the press conference and he's like, "I guess that's what everybody wanted to see. Are you guys happy now?" Like, he doesn't want to throw the ball. He just wants to run it or Saquon or whoever run it. I don't know.
I think when
I
you
know
get
it-
up and Barkley's on the board, you're going to have to choose between him, Hampton, and Chase Brown.
That's exactly that range. It's exactly right.
What
I'll
about?
take the
I think
younger guy
Bucky.
all day.
What about? I was gonna say Barkley or Bucky Irvin.
I don't like Bucky.
I think I would take Barkley. Over
Yeah,
him.
and
Me
that,
too.
yeah. 100%.
And then,
What about-
and then
What about
Go
Ted
ahead.
McMillan in a second year in that offense?
Who's his quarterback?
Probably the same guy.
Ratio.
The thing is, like, somebody else said this the other day. I can't remember where I heard it. Like, how many times did Ted McMillan catch a pass, like, just barely out of bounds? Like, an amazing, like, one-handed grab.
Yep.
It wasn't a catch, but you could see the talent. Like, it's there. Like,
yeah, the talent is definitely there.
I think it's
And-
Nate Williamson.
it was a Dan, yeah. And it's
Yeah.
like, where, like,
His quarterback can't get him the ball.
right. It's like,
He's-
find a
yeah,
way. You got
that is
an
an
off
issue.
season, man. You got a whole off season to figure that out.
Yep.
He's. I compare him a little bit to Chris Olave. He's got that. He's got those alpha wide receiver one metrics. He's got the target share. He's gonna get the red zone looks. It's just quality of passes and in game script too. Really, I mean, Carolina's, as far as their passing offense goes, they kind of spread it around too. I mean, they once Jalen Coca got healthy, I thought that hurt Tet's target share a little bit. But I mean, you're talking about a high talent level, a high draft capital talent level player here entering year 2. So, I mean, I do think that he'll be a little bit more consistent, but still at the same time be a little bit disappointing because of the offense itself as a whole. I'd like to see what they do at running back. I know Dowdle's a free agent. I want to see what the running back room looks like. See if they upgrade their wide receivers as well. I mean, I do think that they like Coca, but I think there's room for improvement as far as personnel goes. So I think that's going to factor into where I ultimately put Tet. But I'm by no means am I off of him as a fantasy asset. I do think that he still has potential to be a starting like a solid wide receiver. Like a wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, like in that range. Obviously, be better for your lineup if you got him as your wide receiver 3. But he's one of those guys where his ADP could be all over the place, depending on draft. You could see him. You could see guys pushing him up, and then you could see him falling in some drafts. So it all depends on where you're comfortable in taking him and where you plug him in your build. I think he's obviously better for your team if he's a wide receiver 3, but you'll probably have to do heavy wide receiver build in order to accomplish that. So it just all depends on how you draft them.
Yeah.
All right. So where are we at? We're at 11 o'clock. We're approaching 3 hours.
Damn.
Again, I just want to shout out the chat, anybody tuning in live. We appreciate you guys. Todd, this has been a great show. Billy, Willie, Josh, Dan, appreciate you guys joining. Let's see. Is there any teams that we haven't talked about? Any are we leaving anything out here?
Let's do a deep dive on the Cleveland Browns situation.
I was going to say we haven't talked about
That'll take
Quinshon
about
Judkins
2 minutes.
that Dylan Sampson, man. If he only got opportunity.
Oh no, Mr. Fannin, Mr. Harold Fannin.
Yeah, that's the guy.
Top 5 tight end right there. Njoku's
Don't
a
look
free
now,
agent. Njoku's a free agent. What are your thoughts on Njoku? What if he ends?
Fucking
You think-
smart.
You think if Kelsey retires, KC could be a good landing spot for Njoku?
Possibly. I mean, I've always liked Njoku. I thought he's always been a good tight end.
He has, man. If he can land somewhere where he can be the number 2 target, then I'm drafting him.
It's a big free agent tight end class too.
I'm curious to see where Likely goes.
Sure.
Yeah.
One of the great Kyle Pitts.
He looked good in Bengal stripes.
Pitts in the right. I mean, he was tight end 2 through 17 weeks. I mean, a distant 2, but he still was 2. Put him in an offense where they were really going to utilize him. I'm in.
That's key right there, where they're going to utilize him.
Yeah,
the Bengals will continue to run 3 tight ends out there with him. I mean, I don't know.
You put him in Cincinnati, I might take Burrow in the first round.
I don't believe
Chase Higgins.
Just put Chase Brown, put him in the slot, and let's just throw 80 times a game.
I mean, it's a fun watch.
We'll still run out 0-4.
You guys both live in Cincinnati, right? Or around it?
Just north, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It's been a rough year.
Yeah.
Say century or year?
At least you made a Super Bowl.
My favorite part of the year with Josh is when I got the notification across the top of my phone that the Bengals acquired Joe Flacco, and I immediately texted him and I was like, "You guys got Joe Flacco," and Josh's reaction was that it wasn't going to help. I think I would rather have Browning. I can't believe this is happening right now. The Bengals are terrible.
And then he comes out and puts it on the Steelers, and I'm like, what is this? What?
That was a great game.
That was a good game.
That was a great game.
He gave Jamar basically 25 catch radius, target radius.
Flacco saved Jamar's season for the people who had Jamar.
Yeah,
because I mean he lit him up there for those 3 or 4 weeks. That was key because he could have very well been another Justin Jefferson. Let's do it.
Yeah, no, Chase was still good. I had him the one team I had the number 1 pick this year. It was nice to see that he didn't go down the shitter like JJ did, but yeah,
not JJ's fault.
This is true.
What do y'all do for a living?
Josh?
So I've got an excavation company that I own, and I also run a pretty large cemetery. And there's been quite a few times this year I felt like jumping in one of those holes myself, or putting my laptop when it's towards the end of fantasy season, or my Bengals stuff down there. I don't know, but that's what I do.
Nice.
So should we start calling you the Undertaker?
He's the grave digger on.
I just feel like I'm the only one that's getting killed over here and buried week by week. It's just been since week 7. It's just been rough, but I enjoyed so much earlier in the show when Calvin Ridley's name got mentioned and Billy and Willie just went nuts, and I'm like, yeah, they drafted that guy too. I love it. They feel the pain and just the bitterness in there.
What a disappointment.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be Terry McLaurin to Cam Ward, like Terry was to Jaden, but nope, did not translate.
Nope.
What about you, Dan?
I build homes, and this guy digs my basements for me. So,
all right,
kind of worked out pretty well for both of us.
Nice.
We've been best friends since like 5th grade. Played fantasy football. We had a buddy that started a league back when we were in 6th grade, and we've played fantasy all these years. And
1994.
Yep,
that's awesome.
So,
remember the old pen and paper days, like you were talking about earlier. You had such an advantage if you did your homework. And
yep.
And
the edge was.
You ever have to mail your lineups in? Not fax, mail them in.
Yeah. Yes, I played in the Sporting News
Oh, yeah.
I won the Sporting News Fantasy Challenge 94-95.
I was in that league. I was in that.
And you would get you would make your changes and you'd send them in, and then you'd get at the end of the week, you'd get a printed sheet like giving you the standings. And I would you'd be dying to wait for that thing every week to come in the mail.
Yep.
And it's just amazing how things have changed. So crazy.
Our leagues were just touchdowns and then 100 yards get you 4 points. So you'd watch Chris Berman primetime on Sunday nights, but you had to wait for the paper to come out Monday morning.
Yep, the USA
and
Today.
If it was a Monday night game, you had to wait till Tuesday morning. If that game went late, you had to wait till Wednesday morning. So you may not even know if you won till because we were in school then. We were in 7th, 8th grade.
We were waiting until Thursday to find out a lot of times.
You had to have an extra $250 to buy papers. Our entry fee was $10. You had more in papers than you had in your entry fee. That's true story.
I used to stop every Monday morning. You remember the newspaper machines? You put it in, you push the little button and you yank it open. You could take 3 of them if you wanted. No one was, but those were the days, man. And then you did the edge back then was do it like you said. You did your homework. If you did the points, I used to at the first league I played in. The commissioner of the league was a buddy of mine, his older brother, and he always did the points, but I did the points every week for every team anyways. And that was the edge, man. That's how you identified consistency patterns. You saw the spike weeks. If you spreadsheeted those results on a chart and you did that type of homework and not everybody was doing that because the information wasn't available unless you went out and got it. So it's yeah.
Yeah.
It's a different time for sure. You had to call in. I remember I had to call in my lineups. It was different times, great times.
Now you can click a button and have 10,000 DK entries, in one button.
Yeah, now you look at your phone, you open My Teams, boom, and you flip flop the flex 3 different times because you can. It's right there at the touch of your thumb, and it's a lot easier to fumble your lineup choices because
but back then what was great is sending that stuff in, you would send it in and that was it. There was and then you couldn't, because I'm infamous for 10 minutes before the game, I'll make a switch, and every single time it kicks me in the ass. And
it usually does. It usually does, Billions. I wouldn't say every time, but 8 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
It
just go with your gut, leave it in.
Yes.
This year I started a thing because I used to wait until Sunday morning to do a lot of the stuff. This year I started doing a lot of my lineups on Saturday night, and then forcing myself not to go back and look at anything unless there was injury update.
Yeah, that's what I do now.
And it helped. It's certainly helped.
Yeah.
Don't get cute.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cute.
A couple of times I made DFS decisions in a redraft league this year, and it was stupid. It was stupid. I played who did I play? I forget. The guy got me a 0, and I played him over Devonta Smith. And Devonta Smith scored a 34 that week.
Ooh. Those are the ones that kill you. I don't care if it's 4 or 5 points, unless it costs you a win, of course. But when you get the big spread where it's 20, 25 point difference, those are the ones you just think all week.
It hurts. Yeah, because you think to yourself, 25 point. In my case, that was 34 points.
Yeah.
You factor in you get your weekly average on 14 weeks. So right off the bat, you lost 2.5 points on that average that you're going to start with in the shootout. That's how I think of it.
Then it comes down to the end and you lose by 0.35 points.
Yeah.
And you left 34 sitting on the shelf that week.
Yep. And then oftentimes it's the difference, man. It's the difference, man. It's you got to limit those lineup mistakes, those big ones. Like Billy said, the 20-30 point is really, really hurt.
Yeah. Well, everybody, I was going to say this earlier. everybody always wants to see who's going in the first 2 or 3 rounds and this and that, but the championships are won in that meat of the draft, that rounds like 5 through 12, and in that areas where you get value. That's where Olave went this year, and the Drake Mays and the different ones. I mean, it really is, and that's where the grind comes. That's where the love of the build falls in, and just seeing how everybody does different builds, and I don't know, it keeps it fun, but it's a grind. Enjoy it.
Yep, that's what it's all about.
Nice. So we're hitting the 3-hour mark. I think I'm going to call it a show. I don't know about you guys, how you guys feel. I thought we did a good job tonight. We covered a lot of ground. Luke McCaffrey. Joey just reminded me it was Luke McCaffrey. He was, to my defense, they were playing the Dallas defense that at the time was ranked 32nd in the league.
Joe, I mean, were you drunk? Were you?
I was not drunk. No, I wasn't drunk.
I feel like the week before that, Joe, that you had kind of downplayed Luke McCaffrey when we talked about him on the show.
And then
he's turned around and spun and put him in there.
My eyes got big at the matchup. Like I said, I made a stupid DFS decision in a redraft league, and I can't believe I hadn't made a mistake like that in quite some time. And I made I fell for it. I went for the juicy matchup over the guy that I drafted in the 5th round. Put him in your stupid lineup. He's a 5th round pick. What the hell did you bench him for? And I know that he hadn't done, I don't want to say he hadn't done anything, but he hadn't had that boom spike week yet. And that was the boom spike.
I mean, I say that to you, and this actually went through my head in week 15. When Trey McBride was at Houston, I had Colston Loveland, and he had a decent matchup. And I thought about it for about 5 seconds, and I'm like, "There's no way I can bench Trey McBride. I just can't do it."
And
no,
and it would have killed me if I did that. But
yeah, he scored a touchdown anyway.
He had 2 touchdowns.
My McBride teams, I said the same thing. I was like, I'm playing him. There's no way I'm taking him out.
You really, you can't. The matchups you can think about them all you want, but unless there's like a similar player, you can't do it. It's just you're better off not doing it. It might burn you every now and then, but
it's better than being burnt the other way.
Exactly.
Trust me, I felt like shit after that. That was my primetime team too, and I felt like shit. I was like, that was stupid, because that at the time too, like 1 through 7 was so close. I forget what it was like midweek. It was like mid-season. I forget what week that was. It was maybe like week 6 or week 7. But 1 through 7, there was a gap. The gap between 1 and 7 was first place and 7th place was like 50 points. It wasn't a lot, and to make that big of a mistake, that cost me 34 points. So, and then I kept saying, I remember the shows we did the shows that week. I was like, I should be 2nd in the league right now in total points, but I'm not. I'm 8th. And like, because the league was so tight at the time, and at the end of the day, total points wise, it wouldn't have mattered anyway. My only shot at that particular league was winning the record, and I ended up losing that week 13 game. If I didn't lose that week 13 game, I would have been fine. I would have finished with the 11-3 and gotten that 3-week matchup and beaten Glenn, because I started my lineup every week, and I went back and I looked and Glenn had a god awful 3 weeks. Sucks for him. Great that he won the league because his team was rocking and rolling towards the end there, but then he had Josh Allen as a quarterback, so we know Josh Allen only scored like 40. Joey Brown, if he was here, he'd give us the number, but I think it was like 42 or 43 points in the 3-week shootout.
Yeah,
not a lot for your third round quarterback.
Yeah,
Yeah, just play Luke McCaffrey in 25 DFS. This is the lesson learned, and you just live life from there.
Yeah,
At least in
it was
DFS, he would have been a lot cheaper. That's you can.
that's what I'm saying. I made us like a DFS choice in a redraft
Correct,
league.
correct.
That's-
And see, Joe, you're going to make a DFS choice with this decision moving forward, and you'll be less pissed.
keep it to DFS. It was funny because ironically that was the first week I played a DFS lineup too, and I feel like it messed with my mind, the way I was thinking about lineups.
Oh, DFS is great.
It is. It's a completely different animal, though.
It is.
It's tough to crack, though.
Yeah, you got to be perfect. Yeah. You gotta
really
be perfect. You gotta be perfect. You need a horseshoe up your ass for a week.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
I mean, there's a lot of research involved too. Process matters, but I mean, you gotta all the dots have to connect for sure.
Yeah.
But all right, guys, we're gonna close out. Appreciate you guys coming on. Always a good time when Billy and Willie show up for these. You guys go back to school when? Tuesday, you said, Bill?
Monday.
Yes.
Unless we get like a half an inch of snow, and then we'll be out a week.
It's gonna be my daughter's like a night owl. She's been up if it's not a school night, she stays up to like 1-2 o'clock in the morning. She's 10 years old. I already told her, I was like, you're gonna be in for a rude awakening when the vacation is over. Those first couple of days,
kids come in on the first day they're all right. Second day they're like zombies.
Yeah, this is gonna be a picnic to wake up all week. Oh yeah.
Well, it's at least we prep our instructions all correctly, right, Billy, for both our subjects.
Jeez. I teach math 8 and algebra. Willie teaches PE. So
Joey says 67 points for Allen. Joey got the number for us. I thought it was in the 40s, but 67 still pretty shitty nonetheless. You got Josh Allen. You're expecting 90 plus in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
How about the play? You guys doing the playoff contest?
Yep.
Talk about that real quick.
Frank Mamola and Jeff Clampett and I, we always get a bunch of teams. We split them. So,
nice.
Yeah, it's the best part about it's the conversation, figuring out who we're going to take on which team and what we're going to do. It's comical. That should be a show. But it's
there's tons of strategy involved in that one. I always map out the playoffs how I think it's going to play out.
It never goes the way you think.
No. Sometimes it does. Sometimes I get it right. Well,
okay.
One year I got it right. One year.
But it's all about getting the first round right. You got to get players who have great games that get bounced. That's the key to winning it.
Yes, that is the difference.
We won it in 2019. It was that Rams Patriots Super Bowl, the one that was like 13-3 or 6 or really boring game.
It was a boring game. Yeah,
we were in 74th place, and we had I don't know if you remember the game. We had Julian Edelman, and he caught so many passes in that game, and we had him ×4, and we had Brady like ×2, but Brady threw a couple picks, and then we had like Brandon Cooks on the other side, and he was the best receiver. I don't know how we won that game. I don't know how we won it, but we did. Greg Zuerlein missed that field goal. If he makes it, we would have fell to third. So, and I didn't even know it at the time, which is probably good because I was at somebody else's house for a Super Bowl party, and they paused the game. They paused on a commercial. We were talking about something. There was like 12 of us there, and somebody paused the TV and then didn't get it up to regular time. So we were like 2 minutes behind, and I had no clue what was going on with all this stuff. And I'm like, I'm so glad because I probably would have been not invited back. I would have been nervous and shit, And how NFFC scoring, when their live scoring is not the best all the time, it's like delayed. We didn't know, and it's cool. It was fun, but we haven't. Actually, the ironic thing was the next year, the Atlanta New England game, we were in first place at halftime, and then James White went ape shit and knocked us out. So
Always a fun. It's definitely my favorite contest as far as fun goes. I think
the multipliers are great. It's such a cool way to do it.
You can only have one player on each team each week. Each week you can add another player, but you can only have one player, right. And then a lot of strategy involved. You basically, like you said, you want to hit. The first round is key. You want to get all the guys that play on the teams that get knocked out. You want to have the highest scorer from that team. That's the goal in week one, and then picking the right ×3 ×4 combo for the Super Bowl team is also key. But yeah, fun contest. I already have one entry. I think me and Steve were talking about splitting one. I think as a group, me, Joey, Dan, and Josh and Steve. If we might do one live. If we do one live, we'll split a team. So I might end up with three entries in that contest altogether. But
it's fun stuff.
Yeah. You guys keep talking about Frank Mamola. Dan, it was Frank that was in there that had the #1 pick in our bullet. So we're in Vegas. They go to start the draft.
He told me this story.
And everybody's like, where's Frank? And so they're running around looking for Frank and this and that.
You know where he was? He was at a blackjack table. He thought the draft
Is that where it was?
He thought the draft was an hour later. He said he was going to play at blackjack for about 30, 45 minutes. And he said, Tom calls him and said, Frank, we've already started. Like, we gave you Chase, or who do you want? He said Chase. And I guess he got there in like the second round or something. He made his second round. But yeah, so I'm like, I just heard that story literally like 3-4 days ago.
Well, I know why you heard the story, because like after the 10th round, he comes over to us. We had the 12th pick, and he's telling us how much he likes our build and this and that and everything. And I was like, man, look kind of like team you're throwing together there. And he's like, I hate my team. This team's
awful. He always says that.
He won the freaking bullet.
When he loves his team, it's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
When he hates it, it always does well.
Yeah.
It finished 5 overall, I think, didn't it? 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Frank, I got to shout out Frank. He's a good guy, man. I talked to him the other day. He is gonna come on Aces Up, but not until closer to draft season. He did agree to come on, talk to him. He got me in touch with Duke Viveros, which I wanted to, love Duke. Duke and I talked it was either yesterday or the day before. We texted back and forth for like a good hour, and we were talking about poker. We were talking about life in general, fantasy football. Duke is gonna come on Aces Up as well. I'm gonna get the poker. I'm gonna get some poker guys on, some poker players on here, and get that going. I kind of put that on the back burner during the football season. I didn't realize how hard it was gonna be to do 2 different football shows and manage 15 lineups, and there was no way I was going to squeeze in any poker interviews in between. I thought I was going to be able to, but I'm not that good yet. So, but we are going to get some poker episodes in during the off season. Duke Viveros is going to be one of those guests. We're going to talk about his passion for poker.
He's really good. Like he told me, I texted him the other day, and he said he was going to be heading to Vegas, I think, this week.
LA, in LA.
He said
too.
6 months. So I'm like, you're not going to Vegas for 6 months. But he plays, like, he's good. He's won lots of tournaments. And
he told me he's going to try to win a World Series bracelet this year. So I'll be rooting for him. He's a good player. We talked about how like, he didn't really make poker a priority, or like obviously we know he was, he serviced the community. He was a police officer for so many years. He was I told him, I said all the fantasy football accomplishments are nothing compared to you being on the intro to Cops. Like that's one of the coolest fucking things I've ever seen. And he was joking. He was like, I had hair back then. He's like, yeah, the guys rode with me for 2 weeks. He was like, that was a great experience. I was like, yeah. So I'll make sure I'll talk about that when he's on. but yeah, Duke's gonna be on. He told me to reach out to him, and we'll figure out a date in the next couple of weeks. So definitely look forward to that. And getting Duke on, talking about his fantasy football career, his poker career, and just shooting the shit with him, getting to know him a little bit better. Definitely,
he's a good guy. He's a good guy.
And yeah, so that's where we're at with Aces Up podcast. What we got planned upcoming. So that's it. I'm gonna finally get out of here because we're pushing. It is 11:30 Eastern time now.
Yeah.
I got work in the morning. You guys don't.
My grandson.
You got work.
But Dan's building houses. They don't show up till 9:30 or 10.
Oh, shut up!
We gotta be at the shop at 6 to get the equipment fired up.
I gotta start. I got a 6 a.m. start too. So.
I got my grandson coming here at like 6:45, so I got to be up and at him, coffee,
Nice. All right, guys. Billy, Willie, thank you guys again. Appreciate you coming on. We'll do it again sometime in the future in the off season. Josh, Dan, as always, great times. We'll be on again. We'll be on Steve's channel on Monday night to talk about the Week 18 games and maybe talk a little NFL playoffs too.
You guys don't do this like after the Super Bowl, do you? Like, you don't do this every Monday, like in like March and April and stuff, do you?
Yeah, I do Aces Up every week.
But do you guys talk football? You don't talk football every week, do you? Or
for the most part, yeah.
Okay.
Or it'll be like a personal interview or
gotcha.
Yeah, but I do Aces Up usually every Tuesday. It's Thursday today because obviously I was catering to you guys everybody's availability.
Sure.
It just made sense. I mean, new year, new ADP, January 1st worked out great. Thursday night was good. Yeah,
for sure.
So everybody, if you're listening on Twitter, go over to YouTube and hit the like button if you enjoyed the show. If you're not subscribed to the Sports Affiliation, please do that. Helps us out. The more numbers we get, the more options we have, and more we can reach, and more the show can grow, and that's our goal. So we hope you all enjoyed. We got, we all shared our genuine, honest thoughts on a lot of these topics based on what we know now. Obviously, context matters. Things are going to change. Rosters will change. Free agents will move. And we'll have to adjust from there. But this was a good little session to kind of just brainstorm 2026 early on. And I think that's it. That's all I got. Happy New Year to everybody. Hope 2026 brings you good things, and we'll catch you all later.
All right. See you later.